Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the shit show. And I want to tell everybody we have a special guest tonight. Orange Hat joined us tonight to be on the panel, talk about a bunch of shit that's going on around here. And I want to say hi to everybody in the chat real quick before we get started.
Let's do that.
Hi, Jackie. Thank you for coming. It's me. Oh, it's Six Nations. Thank you for coming in.
31 Kings.
And soy-based Jeremy. Hello.
Your name is always going to cause a laugh, okay? I'm sorry. Every time I read soy-based anything, I'm going to be like,
Hey, Hungar. Thank you for stopping in. Appreciate it.
They're back.
And hi, Six Nations, 31 Kings. Thank you for coming by. Really appreciate you guys coming and hanging out with us for a little while. Not everybody gets to do that. But tonight, I figured we'd talk about a variety of things. As you can tell, I put UFOs and other shit, okay? So we have a little bit of stuff to talk about. Let me see if I can get this set up. So do you want to talk? Which one do you want to start out with, Bruce?
I'm not, Janet, this is your complete show. If
I know.
Whatever topic you want to kick it off with, we will get that turd on the sidewalk.
Okay, that sounds good then. All right. Is there anything you want to start off with, Orange Hat? Anything you want to say?
That's all yours. It's all yours, Janet. Take it away.
What about you, Ruben? Is there anything you want to say before we get started?
Go ahead. Let's start.
Okay. I'm going to open up one I thought was good news, and I want to share it with everybody. And then, Bruce, will you talk about it a little bit about what he did while I share this with everybody about Connor?
Earlier.
About what he did for what he was saying and what happened to him. Can you see what I have right here?
Let me pull this up. Conor McGregor stuff. Yeah, he's got a baby, I believe, doesn't he?
Yeah, him and his wife just had a baby.
So he just had a brand new child, and this is great. I mean, this is a man who's supremely happy. Now, I don't know about going bare chested in the hospital. Kind of worried about that. You know, like I think this sends kind of the wrong message, because there's some people out there that want to chest feed everything, and they see this, they might get the wrong idea. That's not what we are going for.
Well, you're supposed to touch skin.
I don't know that. I've never delivered a child before.
Okay, well, I had a baby, and mommies take the baby and they lay it on their chest, and sometimes they let them breastfeed, but they now take the baby and they put it on their daddy with skin to skin. It's like a bonding thing, and it's good for the baby and it's good for the dad.
It's imprinting.
To bond with your baby. But the thing is, after everything that happened to him trying to defend his country and how their heritage is being lost because they're becoming overrun with illegal immigrants, just like our country is. I just wanted to kind of highlight that he's starting out with, with having his own baby boy into the world. And I just think it's awesome. And he gives a shout out to his wife, and he says that he loves her and that she's his hero. But I think it's a fantastic picture that he posted himself on his X thing. I thought it was really sweet, because we don't have enough of that. We don't have enough people that are famous that stand up and fight and talk about how we need to keep our culture. That we can't become so overrun that we no longer, do anything anymore that has to do with our own country. And that's basically what he was saying, isn't it, Bruce?
Yes, ma'am. He's turned into a nice illustration of what a good nationalist should be like. And I know this probably is not the way you want to start your stream, but I'm going to say, if you have an ideal nationalist mindset, if you feel like wherever you're from is probably the greatest place in the world, if you feel like the life you led in your childhood and early adulthood, and you want everybody to have a chance at that, and they deserve to try that if they try to behave themselves and they do their best to not fuck up the world that you lived in, and go actively against the life that you created for those you love around you. Connor loves Ireland. And earlier in the last 10 days, there's been some serious violence in Ireland. And he really made some people kind of stand up and get behind him, because he said some things that were very well noticed and taken note of, because too many people are shouted down by authoritative and elite globalist pieces of shit and said, no, you have to take the diversity as our new strength. And Connor's like, no, fuck you. They don't have any skin in the game. They hate Ireland. They're raping our people. They're stabbing kids. They're beating up on women. They're not Irish. Irish men and women don't behave like this. We don't stab kids. We don't knife women. We don't cause violence just because we were born different. And the Irish generally, I mean, they're a fairly nice group of people. They're welcoming, they're hospitable, they're willing to sit down and share a whiskey with you. But if you say something a couple times to them as hostile, they start to really just like lose their tolerance. And after a while, that turns to hostility, like, get out. You're not welcome in this bar. Or get out. You're not welcome in this town. And a lot of people don't like having their birthland, the place they're from. They don't want to see that get turned into some shithole, third world, diverse, multicultural, high crime area. There's nothing wrong about what I just said. And I don't think he gives a fuck about his feelings. I'm very proud.
Yeah, I'm glad because the thing is that I wish we had more people in our country, fighters, basketball players, football players, stars, big people on TV to stand up and say, hey, we're losing our traditions. I mean, when you can't even walk down the street anymore without being accosted because you are dressed a certain way or whatever, different than what a Muslim person might not like, or let's say you're Hispanic and you speak Spanish, and now your whole town's half your street or your neighborhood speaks Spanish, and there's no signs with English written on it. All that type of stuff. That's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. When you lose all that, because our government is forcing you to have to put up with whatever this other person wants,
yes,
instead of what we grew up having.
Yeah, we got to consolidate the things we like. We can't have our dreams anymore. We got to share this dream with somebody else that's not from here, that doesn't belong here,
and doesn't value us.
Well, it's just like that. Told you that little boy that went to school on I think it was Cinco de Mayo, and he had an American flag on his shirt, and they made him turn his shirt inside out. And he's in America, and he couldn't wear an American shirt.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. So slowly it's creeping in, just like you're seeing right now with all the gay pride stuff, and you got drag queens dressing up and reading stories to our kids and whatever else. That stuff, that's not traditional stuff. We can't even put a manger scene out now without getting an uproar over it. Different things like that. Oh, because it's offending to that person's religion or that one's religion. I remember having all kinds of stuff out as a kid, because I grew up on Air Force bases. So that neighbor over there might have a Jewish star out, and this person had that out, and this had that out. Nobody cared. Everybody let everyone else do their thing. And then I had another friend that was Jehovah's Witness, and they didn't even celebrate Christmas. They weren't walking around whining all the time because somebody else down the street had a manger scene out in front of their house or something. I don't know. I just think it's ridiculous. And if we don't start fighting for our neighborhoods and our states, the federal government's just going to cram whatever they want down our throats, and we're just going to have to bend over and take it. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of not being able to say Merry Christmas and stuff like that. I think it's
I'm
ridiculous.
I'm just going to say that I live in a diverse, high crime, multicultural city. And if you are a leftist, you probably think San Antonio is a very good example of what a diverse city could look like. But there's a lot of crime here. We're going to see things change in this city for the better, I think, because right now we've got a police force that's got the union trying to oust our DA because the DA keeps turning criminals loose, violent repeat criminals. So I think as much as it starts in our neighborhoods, I think when the police start to take the complaints of the citizens into question and they start seeing guys get turned around. There was a cop that was shot in his car, his squad car, a uniformed cop got shot by a thug. And so when they took the schlup in, I'm sure he had a tune up. I'm from up north. Whenever you have a guy that's told a cop, he gets a little, he looks different when he gets out of the meat wagon. And I'm sure he looked different afterwards. But I'm pretty certain that when the cops were told within 6 hours the guy was out, no bail, nothing happened to him. That was like 2 months ago, and now the police department is trying to get rid of this piece of shit Soros globalist fuckhead district attorney, which I have no fucking joy for. And so I'm very happy that we're seeing things change. And it takes a lot of complaints. It takes a lot of things to register. But when you start seeing the police getting upset, like, we just arrested him. We were trying to put him behind bars so he could learn a lesson, serve his time, and then come out and maybe not be a shithead that shoots at people in cars, much less squad cars with uniformed cops in them. It's kind of funny. And I think it's turning around. As much as you might think it isn't, I think people are having enough. The Merry Christmas thing, I'm a dickhead about it. I say Merry Christmas to people in my uniform from work or in my Hungar shirt when I'm walking around town. Hey Hungar, how you doing? Pimp Hungar shirts. Anyway, I think that it's important that if you let these people tell you how you must behave, you have to shove your finger in their eye and be like, no, you're a bad person. You're not telling me how to act. I've been a good human for many decades, and you're not going to convert my fucking way of thinking nor my behavior just for your shitty multiculturalism. Fuck you.
Good. I never had
I'll
that
let these two
problem.
gentlemen talk. I'm sorry. Orange Hat's here. We need to let Orange Hat talk, or at least Orange Hat.
Well, the thing is, where I've lived in New Orleans and where I'm at right now, I never really had that problem because it was good diversity. You know, people were happy to be themselves. You know, they're not going to look at that guy and say, oh, they're trying to push their point of view on me. I never dealt with that very much. So, you know, I feel sorry for the people that are in a place where they can't voice their opinion. They can't say anything because they're constantly squashed, you know, because they're not allowed to be themselves. And I just think that's wrong. Now, if what you're doing is causing someone else to see your junk hanging out, like, you know, some of the gay pride stuff that we've seen, that's different. Because if you're forcing someone to have to look at your junk or whatever else, to me, that's wrong. So if you want to do that, go do it in your backyard, you know. Don't make somebody's kid have to see you. So go ahead, Orange Hat. You have anything you want to say about this before we move to the next subject?
The Ireland thing and Conor McGregor. Well,
about
first
McGregor
off,
and everything. Yeah.
Congratulations to Conor McGregor. Good to see that he's defending his country. That's what every patriot should do. My family has ancestral ties to Ireland. Nice little story. Our ancestors were actually the first converts by St. Patrick. Quite literally. But yeah, the immigrant problem, just like over here, it's to the point where, well, I don't want you guys getting your channels cut down, so I'll leave that bit for off screen. But to the point where, honestly, I'm ashamed of the Irish government, because it's like, you are one of the most prideful governments and prideful nations in the world. Irish pride is something that spans over the world, especially in the US. It resonates heavily, especially because there was a lot of Irish people who went over to the US. The fact that you are willing to say diversity matters in Ireland, that was one of the things that you guys were very much against, because you knew how badly it would pollute your way of life. And now you're all for it. It just sounds to me like Longshanks got what he wanted back in the 1000s. Now, as for the problems that we have over here, thankfully, I make no effort to hide where I'm from. I live up in the Adirondacks in New York, and thankfully, we don't have any problem with the illegal immigrants yet. We've had maybe one or two, but they kind of just drifted out of our town really quickly because they realized, oh shit, I'm not gonna be able to do anything here. Yet we are heavily conservative up here, and yes, we do have some people who are left wing, some people who are, or we have some diversity in the town, black people, Hispanics, and whatnot, but they're all citizens, and we all basically agree on one fundamental principle. If you're coming into this town, you're gonna respect the people here, or well, try that in a small town, shall we say. But yeah, otherwise, or I really feel sorry, or I respect Conor McGregor for defending his country and saying we need to get them out, especially if they're killing our kids. Because if anybody knows anything about war and an invasive tactics, you wipe out the earliest, or you wipe out the next generation before, or that way they can't propagate and continue on the line. So yeah, I'm sorry. As soon as that was happening, the Irish government should have said, yeah, we are stopping it immediately. This is going to be treated as an invasion, and you will all be expelled from the country. That's what they should have done.
I think they should have done. Yeah.
It's what we need to do here, because when you have somebody crossing our border and planting a freaking foreign flag on U.S. soil, saying and claiming loyalty to that, I'm sorry, but in a polarized state as we are right now, any service member who knows their oath would have raised their rifle and said, nope, goodbye. You are not invading this country. That is what should have happened. It didn't, but that is what should have happened.
Yeah, because just like I said, we have like St. Patrick's Day, we have Cinco de Mayo, we celebrate lots of different cultures, because that's what our country is. It's a boiling pot, a melting pot of lots of places from around the world. But like I said, if you can celebrate that, and I want to wear an American flag T-shirt, I should be able to. You see what I mean?
Anybody who tells anybody that they can't, should, and if you are in America, if they tell a kid that they can't wear that in school, the parents should sue the school.
Yeah,
for violation of First Amendment right.
But that's what I'm saying. As long as we can keep it balanced, and the only way to do that is through the parents of the schools, the people in the cities and the towns defending their right to do whatever it is that you're doing that comes from your culture, in your town, in your little neighborhood, as long as it isn't impeding other people. You know what I mean? If I'm going to lay out in the street and stop people from driving simply because I don't want people driving on this day because it's a holiday or whatever, then I'm affecting other people and the commerce or whatever in our city. So that shouldn't be allowed. But you should be able to do it on the side of the road, have a parade, put your flag out or whatever. I don't have a problem with any of that. But, you know, Ruben, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Well, I want to give my congratulations to Conor McGregor and his family in this shit show that we live in. It's good to have that people are still believing in hope and bringing life into the world. That's the most important thing. On the Ireland front, we have to remember that they have been corrupted because if you don't remember, the vast majority of corporations that exist today have their headquarters in Dublin because they are very open to having large corporations there give them tax breaks. But then what happens is that then they have their influence. The roots of the evil of DEI and ESG come from that. And then they now impose and purchased the Ireland government to do certain things. And this is what we're doing. And it's the English-speaking country doing this. And this is wrong. You literally have the Irish people are going to die off, just like the Japanese are going to die off too, because they're not populating themselves. And then the one that's really hard hit is the Italians. They got really hit through what they did in spreading this disease throughout the world, which they did.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to I am very disappointed in what they've done, because Ireland was one of the places that I would like to have gone to and lived, because I'm trying to find a home still, but no.
Mhm.
And the places to go for safe harbor for any true American are getting very limited. But then the time to talk is over. The time of action is now. And I'm a man with nothing to lose, and I am launching a lot of different things. Because again, it's cliched, but I have a particular set of skills that I'm going to do everything in my power to expose everything that they're doing. I am done with this. The next 31 days are leading up to 2024, and this is going to end. I don't care anymore. Again, I am my own person. Why did everyone die in my life? Why am I alone? And why am I still here? And why am I still fighting to live?
Mhm.
I love America. I love the world. I love people. But what these individuals are doing around the globe is horrific. And then it's gone longer than we think. It's not back in the 60s, even though we are repeating the same cycle again, because people are complete morons. If you remember, back in the 60s, they did this. And then what happened? What happened is you had the 70s. Oh, we had Dirty Harry. We had Death Wish because we wanted something to fight back. And then now they're producing movies like Silent Night and the new Beekeeper movie because, yeah, let's go and fight. But we're not doing anything. We're just cheering on a fiction of movies. And the fiction is what they're doing. So that's the whole thing. Again, Julian Assange is a hero of mine. Edward Stone is a hero of mine. Alex Jones is a hero of mine. These people, I can combine my power and take them down. WikiLeaks is nothing. There are so many things out there that they're doing. And it's not just the military industrial complex. It is every complex. It is the complex. This world is beholden to the dollar, which is fiction. It is not real. And we are killing ourselves because, again, people are basically saying, oh, what are you going to do when you grow up? I'm going to make $100,000. You're making anything.
Mhm.
Be warned that your bank accounts will be dried up. I guarantee it. It's going to collapse. The entire system is going to go away. And I'm grateful because I don't have a damn penny. And if I do, the last time I used cash was 2018. I knew this is coming. I am preparing. I have my systems ready. I have a system here. I have a system here. I don't use Windows. I don't use Mac. I don't use any of that crap. I don't use any tracking because I know what they're going to do. And I'm ready to fight back. And if I, a disabled man who's sick, has to be the first one to do this and have the balls to stand up against these globalists, I will do it. Elon said it best. Go fuck yourself. It's done. Money, it means nothing to me. Love means everything. What they're doing in Israel, what they're doing in Ireland, what they're doing to that poor kid, the Kansas City, they just want chaos. They want destruction. And in turn, they're going to be the ones saying, just like the moron education sector secretary said, we're from the government. We're here to help. Just like Reagan said, we should do this. This again, they're misconstruing language. Reagan said again, and I've seen this. I know that Obama is a fraud. I know what happened in 1913. And it's in 1912 too. So the Titanic didn't sink itself because this conspiracy, this reality has gone longer than we ever know. And again, I said it before. We have three dynasties that are fighting each other: the Islamic, the Christian, and the Jewish. So this charade has been going on for over 6,000, 10,000 years.
Yeah.
They just throw out stuff. The Magna Carta, all this is, again, we have houses of people that they are controlling everything. And I'm done with it. And again, January 6, 2021, I was blackpilled. I saw it and everything connected. And I was shocked. And I got sick. That's really threw me over. And again, I've sold everything I have. I have no possessions anymore. I am ready to
I know
fight.
it. So Ruben is taking the steps to make all the changes he can in his life for the betterment of him and his ancestors. Hopefully, one day that he'll have.
Well, yeah.
His new
Well,
family.
I'm resolved now that there may be no one for me. And I'm resolved now to walk the earth alone if I have to. But again, I will take that as penance for what I have done, probably, because again, I have worked. I've done again. I grew up believing in the American dream, but then what soured me when I went to college, I dropped out because I saw horrific things that people would do. You have sex with students, teachers, do things, favors for this. And then the corporate world, I never stayed at a job for a very long time. I didn't want to work. I don't work as an employee. I'm a subcontractor. I work with companies to get things done and put a solution out. And I've done solutions for companies. I've done for banks, healthcare. I've worked for Pfizer. I did some work for Pfizer, but not because I believed. And again, it's here's a duality. There are some scientists that generally want to understand the viruses and how they work and all that stuff, or clinical drug trials, which I have been part of from the analysis of the data side. And it is true good stuff. But then you take the data, and that's what happened. They saw, oh, we can do this. We can do the data. We can collect all this thing. And then so-and-so, AWS, Amazon, they have all the data. So that's why they're in bed. That's why Jeff Bezos is rich, because he has them by the balls. And Twitter, they don't have him by the balls. And that's why they're trying to demean him. They did it going after Russell Brand. They went after Alex Jones. They went after Julian Assange, Edward Snowden. They're doing this. Well, that's something.
When you said Julian's name, that made me think of this thing that I got up here right now with Tucker, and he's talking to Roseanne Barr.
Yes.
And he's going to talk about the whole oh darn it, forgot about the CIA director Mike Pompeo trying to kill Julian. Yes. Have you seen this interview?
I know he did. I know this. The CIA is evil. The FBI is evil. They are all, again, the more and more are doing it. And again, I don't watch television anymore. I stopped. I can't do it.
I want
everybody you can watch
this. Get to see this interview with it's on Roseanne Barr's show, and she's interviewing Tucker about this. But I would like
to can't believe how good she looks for being in her 70s now.
Yeah.
Compared to compared
Madonna.
to Madonna.
Yeah, Madonna she doesn't even look like a person anymore. I don't think she's had
She
so much
reminds me of
surgery.
that
It's the
cat
cult.
lady.
It's the cult.
Yeah,
It's the tiger
Yes.
lady from New York City. You remember the lady that wanted to be a tiger?
she
And
doesn't look. She looks like a bobblehead or something to me. But here,
I don't want to really think of Madonna doing that, but I mean, I could see where somebody without a penis would say that. I don't want to think of her as a bobblehead.
well, I mean, her cheekbones and everything. She just looks. She like she doesn't look like a real person. But here, I want to start this thing so you can hear it. Make sure you tell me if you can't hear it, okay?
I saw Julian Assange in London.
Make it
I
bigger.
wanted to ask you
Wouldn't
about
put
that.
people in prison
No.
except for a very good reason. And they
Talk about the
put him
truth.
in prison.
Talk about the truth being illegal. Look at he's paid for it with dozens of people.
Well, Assange has never been accused of lying or of fraud or of making money in some criminal scheme. Assange has been accused of telling the truth, period.
Yeah.
And they are torturing him to death in front of all of us. No one's doing anything about it. And that Mike Pompeo is a very, very sinister person.
Isn't he?
The worst. And I always thought that, and I've told Trump that. Never should have allowed him to run CIA or state. But Mike Pompeo tried to have him murdered. And that's a criminal act. He was not even charged with a crime in the United States. And Mike Pompeo was CIA director. This came out. Pompeo didn't deny it.
I never heard this.
Oh, yes. Oh,
I
absolutely.
saw it.
Oh my God.
He tried to have Julian Assange murdered, poisoned in the Ecuadorian embassy in London. And that's a fact, okay?
Wow.
And it's been established. And okay,
Yes.
why is Mike Pompeo not in prison? I saw Julian Assange in London.
I wanted to ask you
Wouldn't
about
put
that.
people in prison
No.
except for a very good reason. And they
Talk about the
put him in
truth.
prison.
Talk about the truth being illegal. Look at he's paid for it with dozens of people.
Well, Assange has never been accused of lying or of fraud or of making money in some criminal scheme. Assange has been accused of telling the truth, period.
Yeah.
And they are torturing him to death in front of all of us. No one's doing anything about it. And that Mike Pompeo is a very, very sinister person.
Isn't he?
The worst. And I always thought that, and I've told Trump that. Never should have.
Yeah. See. So.
Yeah, this again. I didn't want to believe how bad it was because I thought that growing up. Whoa, what was that?
Like a vibration.
You hear something?
I don't know what that noise is.
Oh, that was
FBI.
me.
It's the
plugging in
FBI.
my thing.
Sorry,
That was me
CIA.
plugging
I was
in.
like,
All
did
right,
somebody's
how you doing?
fan come on? I didn't know what it
FBI,
was.
CIA. How you doing?
That was
No.
just me plugging my thing.
I
Or
don't.
my,
okay.
No,
I'm
but the-
sorry, guys. The glowy's back in my room again. Damn it.
Get him out of here. But again, I believed that America again. We have to look at George Washington and what he said is his farewell address, and then the bookend being Eisenhower in his farewell address. And again, you have to again. They killed Kennedy. They set up Nixon. They put in Ford, CIA, just like George Bush, the senior. Again, it's all a scam. They caused Vietnam. They caused 9/11. They did everything. They are doing this. And then again, I am done with it. It is insane. And I am done with people just talking. Someone's got to do something. I'm done. I'm doing it. I my entire life I've been the one person going, why is no one doing anything? And I stood up, and I can't stand, but I'm going to, because again, love is so important in the world, and we are killing ourselves over a book or another book or another book. It's all lies.
But see, but the thing is, not everybody is blinded or zombified by what's going on in the world. 'Cause there are
About
people like me.
95% are zombies.
Well,
higher,
I would say maybe 70. It's almost to 70, but I really do, just like what Bruce said earlier, I'm starting to see people that I thought I would never see open their eyes and go, I can't believe this is happening. Like Roseanne, okay, like what we just saw, okay. 20 years ago, no one would have ever got me to believe that Roseanne Barr would be thinking more on my side of things.
True.
You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is I'm starting to see more and more people opening up and listening and coming up with other ways to try to wake people up. Because once a person's awoke and their eyes are open, it's hard to put them back into the zombie state again, right?
Yeah.
To plug them back into the matrix. I mean, it's very few people want to go back and just become a zombie and just go whatever. Be ashamed.
I cannot understand that mentality.
I can't either.
Let's all get along. No,
See?
I've never been the one to get
No,
along.
I mean,
I am the disruptor. And I'm going to
You-
disrupt this
you-
motherfucker. I'm done.
You said yourself that you went through a phase in your life where everything was great. You didn't need anything.
Because I didn't
You
talk to
were married.
anybody.
Yeah, but no, you were married and everything, and then when your wife died and things started happening in your life, that's when your eyes started to open about reality and what was going on around.
It's not true. I understood the reality of how stupid things were. I just didn't talk to anybody. Again, like I said, in 2021, when I walked into Vegas, I had never talked to anybody. I never talked to a guy. I never had guy friends ever. Never had a one. Again, people say, "Oh, growing up how was your grade school? How was this and how was your friends?" I didn't talk to anybody because they were all fucking idiots. Every person I've ever talked to is a moron. Sadly, it is. Until now, that you guys are getting better, but you got to do more.
And that's what
you're
I
not
see
there
all the
yet.
time.
You got to keep
The
going.
thing is that I'm seeing more and more people that are taking their first steps into trying to figure out what to do.
Yes, yeah, that's
Okay,
basically
that's what I'm seeing.
that's true.
And I'm on Twitter. I do spaces a lot. We talk about all kinds of different things and get people to register to vote, to try to make differences in their communities, about their school boards, city council people, governors, state representatives, all the things. And these are all people that have never done anything. Just like I said, when I came back from Thanksgiving, I had a letter waiting for me to register and go fill up the paperwork so I can become a jury duty person. And I'm excited about it. And I'm going to take notes and everything else because I want to serve jury duty and find out what that's all about.
God. Yeah,
Okay, I've never done it. I've
but
never
here's the
done
thing.
it.
Here's the
But
thing.
the thing
They
is,
don't.
how can
they
I
don't
tell
like-
people to register to vote and to do stuff and to serve your communities and do stuff if I don't even? What was sad? This is what made me wake up. Is I posted it on Twitter or X.
Right.
Okay, and I had 5 people out of about 100 people. I had about 100 comments. I had 5 people that said, "Oh, I'm so proud of you. I know you're going to do a great job. You'll probably be jury foreman, all this kind of stuff." And then the rest of the people were all saying, "You need some help to get out of it. You don't want to do it." And that's what I tell people in spaces is we didn't used to have machines to count anything when you were registered to vote. And when you were working the polls, people sat there and counted 1, 2, 3, counted the ballots and made sure the signatures were right and all that stuff. And then all of a sudden, more and more people stopped going to work the polls. So you go in and it looks like geriatric center. Okay, everybody's got a cane, everybody's got a walker. They're sleeping while they're taking your votes, whatever from you, handing out the ballots. So fewer and fewer people were signing up. So what happened? The states started saying, "Well, we need machines. If you just go in and push the buttons, we don't need anyone sitting there to hand out anything. We don't need this. We don't need that. We'll just do all machines here, machines over there." Okay. So I'm telling people we don't need machines. We just need people's asses sitting in the chairs to make sure your signatures are you when you show up, and you only get 1 ballot. Okay. That's how we take that back and make it more fair so that I can go to bed at night knowing that I did the best I could to make sure your vote counted. You see what I mean? That's how we take our country back. It's by us
2020.
getting off our ass.
2020, when that presidential election was going on, when me and I was living with a different person at the time, my landlady, hardcore Democrat she was, or still is. But yeah, we had to go to our voting hub. They weren't even checking IDs. And it's like, why aren't you checking my ID, verifying me? Oh, we already know who you are. It's like, yeah, show me. Well, we would have to get the stuff out. It's like, you want me to call the FBI right now? I have no problem doing it.
Of course, I'm not gonna lie.
They're like, sir, you're causing a problem. We're going to have to ask you to leave. It's like,
Yeah.
you do that, I'll sue you for violation of 14th Amendment.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it 13th? Right to vote.
I think it was 13. Is it 13th Amendment?
13th or 14th, one of those two. But it's
13th.
like, you do that and I will, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know I got it right on the day. But it's like, you do that and I'll sue you for that, for a constitutional violation.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, okay, so what's your name? And it's like, get your instrumentation or also match my signature, please.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I saw them leave, I called the FBI anyway. But you want to know what? The FBI jerked me around. They're like, yeah, we just checked into it. There's nothing wrong or nothing going on wrong. And it's like, so you're telling me that you're allowing voter fraud to happen right now. You're violating, or you by not doing it, or by saying there's nothing going on there, that's a violation of federal law. So, yeah, I'm sorry. I have no faith in New York or in the New York voting process. I still go out and I still vote. The place that I vote now,
Mm-hmm.
they do all the verification. They do all that stuff. I'm so happy that they do now because I'm living in a different county other than the one I was formerly living in.
Yeah.
All it took was moving just 7 miles away. Thank God. But anyway, it's just, I can't believe that they were so brazen about it. It's like if the FBI truly mattered or cared, 2024, let's just say this, folks, 2024 is going to be a linchpin. If it turns out that there's some skullfuckery going on, pardon the French,
Mm-hmm.
if it turns out that there is some weird crap going on, this country is at war with itself. We're no longer. Yeah, what really wouldn't show those on screen.
I show them all the time. They're great. You
They
know
haven't
why?
pulled your streams yet. Wow.
No,
But,
Well, it's not the
Not
actual
yet. I'm not
device.
monetized, so I'm not worried about.
good point. But yeah, it's like Aaron, I love how this dumbass that's installed currently. He's like,
Mhm.
if you're going to take on the government, you're going to need more than just an AR-15. It's like, here's the thing.
No.
I know our laws, and I know the constitutional laws, and I know a lot of stuff better than you. And even though I am a civilian, I know for a fact that if you give any order to the United States military to attack a U.S. citizen or a U.S. population, they are to automatically stand down. That is the one order they cannot follow, which is to attack U.S. citizenry. In fact, they're actually supposed to arrest you if you make that order.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's the lawful way to go about it.
However, unfortunately, we do not operate under the
Mhm.
law, sadly, because honestly, after the president tried to violate the Constitution several different times during his current tenure in office,
Yeah.
he should have been removed through automatic default.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because once you violate your oath of office, you're no longer fit to be president.
But you've got a government that is too pussy whipped by
Yeah.
the corporations because they're going to get paid because they're all colluding. They're all fucking each other. They're all doing sick
Oh,
shit.
especially our vice president. I mean, you know
Well,
how
have
she got
any
her.
of you guys ever worked the polls?
I have.
Like,
I
well, not like
never
Kamala
worked them.
has.
I've only
Okay,
Not like
well,
voted.
Kamala's done
I'm
lots
not
of
like
polls.
Kamala. I didn't
And
suck
the
my
thing
dick
is,
to
when
fucking
I-
sit there with all the old people.
Well, when I saw some of the shit that I saw on TV, the videos coming out from these different polling places where they were covering the windows and they
Yeah.
wouldn't let anybody see anything and all this, and I was like, what the fuck? That's bullshit. Because it's supposed to be open for everyone. The public is supposed to be able to see what the hell's going on when you're working the polls. And if they have to cover the windows and shit and not let you see, then there's definitely something illegal going on, period. I mean, I've worked the polls, 50 times at least. Okay. And the thing is that if somebody came in and said, hey, we all have to get out because there's a leak in the bathroom down the hall and we're going to finish calling tomorrow, I would have said, okay. And guess what? I would have picked up my books and my stuff that I said in a sworn oath that night that I wasn't going to leave until I counted the votes, blah, 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 in my little table with my other 4 people. Then I would have said, let's get our stuff. Let's go. And they would have said, what are you doing? I said, we have to take it with us. I took an oath saying I wouldn't let this out of my sight. And they would have had to arrest me. That's what would have happened if I'd been in my place where I was at. They would have had to arrest me, and I've been and made a big stink of it, because that's what I did when I took my hand and held it up. I made an oath that what happened at this table was my responsibility, that this stuff was done properly, and until that ballot was taken from there and put in that box at the end of our table, our job wasn't over. Okay, that's what I swore to do, and I wouldn't have left. So the fact that they got all those people from that place to get up and leave, to me, that doesn't make any sense. None of that made any sense to me, and I knew there was freaking cheating going out the wazoo when I saw that there were all the stuff that was coming out. And every single person like me that's worked the polls, that's why I was saying this, had to have seen that and said, this is bullshit. I mean, there's no other answer for it, because it was blatantly bullshit. The only people that wouldn't believe it would be people who never worked the polls, or people had never even went and voted. They had no idea how any of that worked, because it was just way over the top fraud.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they got away with it all that time, but they did. And the thing is, it's up to us to say, fuck you. You're not doing that to us again. And when it comes to voting in this town on this day, this is what's going to happen. And we're going to count, and we're not going to stop counting until we're finished counting, period. We're not going home. We're not waiting to bring more stuff in or whatever. Bullshit. Because if their asses were sitting in those chairs, those other people that came in wouldn't have been able to sit there and just keep putting the same ballot in the machine over and over again, because there'd be too many witnesses. That's why they had to get the people out, because all those people they made leave weren't involved in the cheating. See? So it wasn't everybody that was there. It was only a few people that had the means to be able to get everyone else to leave. And then that's what happened. And it only takes a couple people in every single one that they had set aside where they needed certain amount of votes, and that sad, because those 5 states that were standing up there on January 6th saying, we want to take the votes back to our state and make our states revote, blah, 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 count the ballots or whatever. That's all they had to do. And then we wouldn't be in this mess that we're in. But they accepted them. They accepted the Electoral College votes for a bunch of ballots that were fraudulent. And until we fix that, which they haven't, I haven't seen it. And they've still got that, True the Vote, and a couple other groups that are still going through rigmarole in court right now for lawfare to try to find out whether we're even going to have a chance to have anything happen by next November. And it's been almost 4 years. It's like, it's bullshit that we're still having to deal with this crap, because you, me, and everyone else that has any common sense could just look at some of this stuff and say, hey, that's fucked up. We need to fix it.
And again, what's so frightening in a way is going back to what they said with it, how the Biden education secretary misquoted Reagan regarding "I'm from the government, we're here to help." The whole idea regarding Reagan's famous line when he ran for re-election, or you're better off when you were 4 years ago, in a way that how he changed, and he swept. All we have to do is say that, but then you have Karine Jean-Pierre lie and say, oh, it's the 4th cheapest Thanksgiving ever. What in the fuck are you talking about?
You know, Tracy
You
Chapman
dumb
really looks like
fucking
she's
lesbian
gone downhill.
bitch.
That bitch in or that freaking press secretary bitch, man. I'm telling you right now, this is the fourth cheapest. We could only in this household, we could only afford the turkey, the stuffing, and instant mashed potatoes.
Mhm.
That's all we could freaking afford this year. Don't go telling me, and we do a full spread every year. We do a full spread every year, all of it, a whole spiel. So don't have that woman. The fact that I have a gift specifically from for her every time she talks. I see her or see the freaking thing on Breaking 911 on Twitter, where it's from Dusk Till Dawn, where it's the guy's like, "You fucking liar!" It's like that is specifically dedicated to cringe John Pierre, because she is everything she says is a lie. And it's absolutely ridiculous. And not only that, congratulations to the government in the worst way possible. Because if people have been paying attention, they got rid of the Republic or the Pledge of Allegiance. They started calling our government a democracy. All of these things were actually freaking planned.
Yes.
By the Democratic Party to do all this stuff.
In their platform.
Stop teaching real history and to start pushing in false history, to start focusing on skin color instead of this was literally it's going to sound crazy to say it, but master plan.
Yeah.
To
They
confuse the
called it.
populace. And it's because we are a constitutional republic. I mean, if you know there's a beautiful freaking video. This was even before the 2015 or the 2016 election. It's called Republic versus Democracy. What is America's true form of government? Put that on, let people watch it. It's 10 freaking minutes, and it explains in detail what our founding fathers did not ever want for the United States. And that was a democracy. You look in all 50 state constitutions, our federal constitution, and even in the Declaration of Independence, there is one word that does not exist in all of those documents, and that is the word democracy. No, republics are not democracy, so soy-based Jeremy. The only democratic principle that we have is a vote, but it's not even a majority vote.
Mhm.
That is what a democracy is. The majority of the people.
Mob rule.
And where a republic is what is the will of the people and the rights. A constitutional republic, because if you have a normal republic, that will fail. If you have a constitutional republic where there are certain laws that are absolutely tabulated, you cannot overwrite them. That is what we are. That is why the republic in Rome failed. It
didn't fail. It
became
a church.
To a democracy.
It's a church.
It gave way to a democracy.
An evil church.
Because it also then turned into an oligarchy under the Caesars.
Mhm.
So yeah, Rome fell because it didn't have their laws tabulated like we do. And that is why we have what we have, which is a constitutional democracy. If President Trump is reelected again, which I am praying to God that he is, he needs to basically say, here's what's going to happen. Any state that continues to push sanctuary status, we're going to defund you. You will not receive your funding. Also,
That's a great idea.
You're going to start putting in the Pledge of Allegiance. And for those of you who are not Christian, I mean, if you are Muslim or whatever, because I am not unreasonable, there are kids who are not of that same religion. You can say, and to the republic under one nation under whatever you call your God, under Allah, whatever.
Yeah.
At least you are you are still giving and pledging your allegiance to this country.
Mhm.
And that is the important thing.
Yep.
All these other people who love to say, oh, our democracy, including the frickin' Republicans, Elise Stefanik, I'm talking to you, my congresswoman. You ever refer to our frickin' government as a democracy again? I will not ever vote for you again. And I will convince people to vote for somebody to replace you. As much as you are doing good for Fort Drum and whatnot, pay attention to your goddamn constituents and stop voting yes to send money over to Ukraine as well.
Yeah,
Because,
all money laundering.
yeah, not only that, folks, I am very much against both Republicans and Democrats because me personally, I'm a constitutional conservative. If you are against the Constitution, I'm against you.
Mm-hmm.
Republicans and Democrats are a problem right now, including the ones, or including some of the ones that are for Trump.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, some of them are pushing the more extreme versions
Globalist
of,
point of view.
yeah.
Yeah.
Too many globalists.
And not only that, everybody loves to say far right, far left. If you knew anything about the proper way to measure the political scale, far right is no government. Far
Mhm.
left is total government.
Mm-hmm.
That is
Yeah.
where Nazism, fascism, oligarchy, dictatorships,
Yes.
and all of that, that is where all of that exists. Far right, none of that exists
Mhm.
because that is anarchy. Where in the middle is the proper form of government, which is a constitutional moderate government or a constitutional
Small,
republic.
limited government.
Yeah.
Limited, exactly.
Limited.
Perfectly limited.
See, that's where we've
'Cause-
messed up right
Yeah,
there.
because but the one thing is civics hasn't been taught in the schools for a long time, and that's my biggest pet peeve. When basically it's this right, it's a human right, and then they go the Bill of Rights. People don't even know what the Bill of Rights is. They totally forgot.
Mhm.
It is not the 10. It's the 10. I'll just say what it is. It's the 10 things the government cannot do. Cannot do. It's not about. It's the things they can
It's that
cannot.
they
do.
cannot violate.
Yes, you are, and again, they're not teaching the Constitution. Inalienable rights mean you were born with them. You gave God, the Creator, whoever you believe, you were born with them. That's what you have. They cannot be taken away, and they are taking them away. Again, certain things you can't say on YouTube. They basically are changing the and it was recently that someone did the same the 2A argument about the musket issue. Grow the fuck up, you idiot. You have
Technically,
no
under
idea.
our 2A, we're allowed
Yeah.
to own an F-35 if we can afford it.
Yes.
We are allowed to own any weapon
They
that
they
is produced.
during the
We are allowed
Barbary
to own
Cannon
it.
in Texas.
during the 1800s, the Barbary pirates, they basically they conscripted people to get cannons and shoot them.
We can still get cannons. We're legally allowed to carry katanas and naganatos and other wonderfully edged
Oh, I
weapons
wanna
here
do
in
that.
Texas.
The state that I live in, okay, I have bought guns. There's a thing, it's called Highway Galore 64, something like that. And it's miles and miles and miles of like flea markets and yard sales, all on the same road. And people sell guns. I've gone to, I don't know how many of them, and they have like 10, 25 guns all laid out. And you just walk up and buy one if you want it. You know, you look at it, whatever else. So, you still have rights in different states, depending on where you live and what you've let your state become by the people not voting or whatever. And that's one of the things that's made me the saddest is when you work the polls and
Oh
you
my
find
God.
out it's a big election, like for governor of your state, or they're going to pass a law to make it legal to sell marijuana or something like that. And you have 20% of your registered voters vote on it. So then later on, they bitch and moan. I didn't want that lottery thing to pass. But I go, did you vote? Well, no, I didn't have time. Well, there you go. Okay. You see what I mean? So you can't have the cake and eat it too if you don't do anything to earn the cake. I mean, there's a few things you have to do to keep your republic strong. And that one of the things is to vote, or to sign up to do jury duty, because people say, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I go, but what happens if somebody accuses you of a crime and you have to go before a jury of your peers? How hard is it to get a jury of peers? Okay, it's hard because most people don't want to do it. Well, guess what? I can tell you right now, I'm signed up for 3 months. And when I go and I sit there, I don't care if I don't sleep at night. I don't care what happens. I'm going to read. I'm going to do everything I have to do to make sure I get as much evidence and understand everything that's going on. So when I make my choice, even if no one else agrees with me, I'm still going to stick to my guns and do what I think is right in my heart and in my soul by the facts that are laid out in front of me for whoever or whatever crime it is or whatever. I'm going to do the very best I could for that person, because I would pray that one day, if I'm ever there, that someone's going to do that for me. And the rest of the people probably won't like me.
But you have to remember, there was one thing that I wanted to address theoretically here, based on someone said, why is this political commentary going on? Is that this is the time that I'm done with all of that. Let's talk about something else. No, this is it. This involves everything. And again, you have to wake up to what's going on here. If you're sitting and watch television, it's all poison. They want to feed you food, they feed you drugs, they want you to buy something and then put yourself in debt. No, done. Movies, the same thing. The CIA and the FBI are colluding. Anytime they have a military film, it's all propaganda.
Mm-hmm.
And again, and then they put the sex out there to basically the Netflix shows or whatever the shows that I was seeing something like, what you're doing sex on Netflix? What's going on here? And people and kids can watch this shit, cuties and all this other crap. They want to poison. And remember, Netflix was created by a relative of the minister of propaganda in Europe. It's all to poison your soul, everything. And unfortunately, the same thing goes with movies and sports. They pay these people an exorbitant amount of money because they're influencing you to do things. Michael Jordan, again, a great athlete, but then Nike got the shoe and everyone bought it, and they basically using slave labor to give your shoes. Everyone loves the iPhone, but they're using slave labor, the Uyghurs. And you had them this year say the Uyghurs, it's okay, slave labor. They're doing in Africa, the cobalt. We're going to go all electric, and then they're little kids. And you see them, you see the cobalt, what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And again, there are more people in slavery right now than ever. They are doing this. They're harming kids. They're harming people. They're self-harming. They're teaching. They have this. It's a whole vicious cycle. Think about it. The food you're eating is poisoned, and it's just documented. The amount of sugar in our food has increased. The amount of fat has been reduced. Because again, they were trying to demonize fat, which helps your brain develop. And they're purposely doing it to keep people dumb. It's like WALL-E. The whole idea, people got put off in the ship and they got fatter and they got lazier. Because it's all about convenience. And I'm done with the convenience. It's just an app. I will do it. Just simple things, being a man. If I have to, I cook my own food. I will go out there and shoot. I've hunted, I've skinned, I've done this stuff. I've done gardening and all that stuff too. Because I know what I'm going to do with my life. I'm doing, in the end, if everything worked out fine, I'd do a reverse Thanos. Clasp my fingers, everyone has everything, and I can go off and be alone. I'm done. I really am. Like I said, before I met you all, it was me by myself for a very long time. Then I met my wife. I was 29 and I got married, and then she passed away and I was 49, 50. And that's basically it. And then I basically said, you know what? Let me see if anybody out there, I can talk to them and get to know them. And I'm here, but I am done with the talk. I am now part of the action. And again, I didn't want to die when I was collapsed. In 21, it hit me hard. And
Yeah.
I was in the hospital for a very long time. And it was horrible. And I walked out of there, went there, and I got hit twice, 21, 22. And I'm down right now. And I said, shit, I got to sell everything. At the beginning of this month, I lost everything. The storage unit I had for 5 years, I lost 50 years of all of my stuff that I had. And I said, fuck it, I didn't need it. I now have nothing. I have my computer. I have a microphone here to speak, and I'm not going to stop speaking. And that's it. I have nothing else. And the clothes I have, unfortunately, are too big now. I'm not going to buy clothes. I'll just, keep it up until I get to my goal weight, because that's going to happen. I'm going to do some John Wick shit on these motherfuckers. I am done with it. I don't care anymore. People are not doing shit.
Uh-huh.
I'm done.
Well, some
And
people
and everyone has to wake up with this crap.
people are waking up, and that's why I wanted to start doing the shit shows, because I want people to see that there's other people out here that think the same way, that want to fight for what we should have and to fight for our country and get our country back. Okay, that we remembered as a kid. Okay, and that's one reason why I wanted to start the shit show, is because it is a shit show. Okay. A lot of people don't want to believe that, but more and more people are believing it now. And this is one of the stories that I wanted everybody to see. This is another story. It says, explosive claim, DHS whistleblower Aaron Stevenson alleges the U.S. government is a major player in global child trafficking. And you guys know how I'm passionate about speaking out against any kind of trafficking, human slavery or anything like that.
Organ trafficking.
Yeah, or organs, anything like that. Anything that endangers people's lives simply because someone else wants something they have. Okay. Thousands of minors are reportedly trafficked across the U.S. borders, with taxpayer dollars implicated. A dark underworld exploration. The thing is, because of the that movie that came out, Sound of Freedom, this is the reason why I think more and more of this kind of stuff is coming out. So let me make sure you guys can hear this. Okay, you guys ready?
Yep.
America is the largest buyer and seller of children, unaccompanied children, in the world. Every year, thousands of unaccompanied children are brought across the United States border. Then they're sold off as slaves, and worse, if you can even imagine worse than that. It's happening inside the United States. This is happening. Before they're transported by the U.S. government-funded agents, they're being housed in large facilities like the ones we've shown you, former Walmart facility buildings in Texas. Here, you can take a look at this on your screen. We've covered this on the show before. And it's all happening with the knowledge and supervision of the United States government. Either that or they're willfully ignorant about it. They are facilitating the transport and sale of these children across the United States. Now, a group of brave Americans have blown the whistle on this program, and they are trying to raise awareness about how this program is about to become law in the United States, and it will circumvent the United States Congress. One of those whistleblowers is intelligence analyst with USCIS, an arm of DHS, Aaron Stevenson, I should say former intelligence analyst, but a whistleblower nonetheless. And Aaron joins us now on the show. Aaron, great to see you. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much.
So how did you decide to blow the whistle and alert all of us to what was actually happening under the umbrella of the DHS?
So for me, it was because I exhausted all efforts at work. I started seeing the records about literal MS-13 members and 18th Street Gang members using this program to get kids. And it was a brand new thing. I had never seen this before in the entirety of what was called the Transnational Organized Crime watch list. And I asked to work about it where I worked at USCIS, and we, trying to find some information out, like, hey guys, who works on this program? Who knows about this? And that's not the role at USCIS. So I reached out to other entities within DHS, CBP and ICE and other places, and no one knew about it. So I reached out to more members throughout the government, at the Terrorist Screening Center, looked at the FBI, DOJ. I went to Labor and Treasury to see if anybody was tracking this information, and nobody was. So when I was looking for more people to help me out and no one knew about it, and everyone just kept saying like, well, it's not our job really, what we're going to do. It's like, okay, well then I'm left with no choice then. Like, I have to go to the media. I have to get this out to someone. Someone is going to be able to, let people know what's going on, because I tried telling work. They just didn't want to hear it.
So you tried to tell the government what was actually happening. Can you explain to our audience what was actually happening? What program you discovered?
Well, yeah. So the program that I was working part of is called the Transnational Organized Crime Working Group. And this manages we call it the TOC watch list. And this watch list, it's not just like a DHS thing. The executive agent actually for it is DOJ, but it's a multi-agency, multi-department, whole of government approach to combat the activities of transnational organized crime groups. And what we did on a day-to-day basis, besides like help draft policy and try to, come up with ways to use this machine, we would get these encounter notices. An encounter notice is just it's a system of record. It's an email where anytime an alien who's watchlisted on this program, we would know about it. It's almost live feed. It wasn't like exactly like up to date that fast, but within a few minutes of, let's say an arrest record, or if an alien was going to be flying in the country, or if they were using USCIS for immigration benefits, we would know almost immediately what was it for. So we started doing this program back in 2016, and it kind of grew over time. And by the time in 2021, when we came across, this watch list was around like 30 to 40,000. And in February 2021, so the first month of Biden, there was an encounter notice about an alien who was MS-13 that was applying to HHS to get an unaccompanied alien child as their sponsor. And all of a sudden, that was the first time I've ever seen that. And I did check, by the way, all the records, because I still had them all. So I did a control find search. I'm doing a query to look for everybody. And we started seeing basically one of these every about 3 to 4 weeks. And by the time I blew the whistle, which was in July of 2021, there was a total of eight aliens trying to do this. When that thing got released in August, there was 9. By the time I went public with something else, there was like 12 people. So this was a regularly occurring thing, but it was also brand new. The reason why it's so also insidious, though, is you can understand if this was a new thing, if it was only like one clique of a gang doing this, or like, let's just say like one sect of MS-13 from one part of El Salvador. That makes sense. But this started happening from gangs of MS-13, 18th Street Gang, and a Balkan organized crime group. So the countries this was coming from was Romania, El Salvador, Honduras, Guatemala. This was happening at a very, very wide rate very quickly, and it made no sense at all.
So these MS-13 gang members were trying to get access to unaccompanied minors that were already in the United States.
Correct.
And where were these gang members located? Were they also in the United States, or they were simply on a watch list somewhere outside of the United States?
So the other thing these people all had in common was they all first were illegal aliens. They all entered the United States illegally.
So they were.
But secondly, they were actually utilizing the defensive asylum process to stay in the country. So they were all illegal aliens. They entered without inspection. And you can be put in removal. Like ICE will find you, or CBP is like, hey, you can't do that. You're going to get removed. Here's your court record. And they make a bogus asylum claim. It's a very fraudulent process. And it's accepted by the asylum process. They just accept these things like mostly willy-nilly. And I'm talking like 80% of the time. So all these aliens, again, entered illegally and were utilizing the asylum process to stay in the country.
So they're staying in the country illegally, and then they're applying to get an unaccompanied minor child.
Correct.
It's so brazen to me. Here they've now gotten in, they've skirted the process, managed to use the asylum process, and then they're going back into the process to get a child.
Exactly.
And what are they doing with the child? It's shocking to me. And then what are they doing with the they're literally going through official channels to get a child?
Correct. And well, this is the part of it. So this is what child trafficking is, because the U.S. government, we have definitions for everything, right? So the U.S. government, the definition for child trafficking is the use of fraud, force, or coercion to seize the custody of a child who's then moved for one of two purposes, which is either labor trafficking or sex trafficking. So a slave in like a factory or a sex slave. So this entire process, again, is all aware of too. Every single notice that came out about these 12 aliens that were trying to get these kids, these sponsors, every single one of them has a write-up also saying like, hey, this person's an MS-13. MS-13 is known for then like, drug trafficking, gun trafficking, extortion, sex trafficking. Like, it's no confusion to know that they are involved in this activity. FBI was known, they knew about this information because they received it. 12 members of the TAC working group knew about it, but HHS wasn't in this information. And even after blew the whistle, they are still not receiving this information.
So then this goes through what channel in order to receive a child? What agency? If I'm a member of MS-13 and I want to pick up a child, how do I go about filing this paperwork? I mean, it's unbelievable to me that there's an official process to go and pick up a slave.
And you can do it within 14 days. Like 14 to 30 days is their rolling average. But this is all handled by the department, or HHS, Department of Health and Human Services. And the little ladder going down is the Administration for Children and Families, ACF. And the actual office that handles this program is called the ORR, the Office of Refugee Resettlement. This program is called the Unaccompanied Child Program.
So this unaccompanied child program receives a notice from an individual who has been flagged by your group as a terrorist and is a member of an international gang, an international terror gang, but they're not receiving the information to put a stop to it? Or does that paperwork just not even make it to them? So they say, oh, here's a request to pick up a child. We'll just send off this 5-year-old that we have here at this facility, and we'll send it off to this individual. And by the way, we'll make it easy on you. We will fly that person. We'll get on an airplane with U.S. taxpayer dollars and fly this child to this MS-13 gang member, excuse me.
Correct. Everything you said is true, except for one thing, which is HHS does not receive the information. And this is the problem too, because it's all unclassified. This is not like a secret, anything at all. This is not secret collection. There's no analysis which takes it to a secret or top secret level. This is all unclassified information that can be utilized over numerous government reporting systems. However, the actual case management teams are mostly contractors, so they don't have access to the information. But even then, like the federal field specialists, the actual feds at the sites of these kids, they're not receiving it either. And you hate to say it's by design, but it's by design. This is not a hard process at all. This is a very, very simple function of information operations. It's not hard to move information around, and yet they don't do it.
When you say it's by design, who do you think designed it and why?
Well, so it's HHS and their, I would just say their entities, because I doubt it's just a bunch of feds like GS-13s and 14s that are creating all the policies. This is probably more than likely a compilation of not only federal staff, but then also NGOs, non-government organizations, and also probably like contractors. They're the ones that do the majority of the work. So they'll have, the best practices. They'll know the way this works, and, we have to actually do these. So when they create field guidances, yeah, it's HHS distributing that. They're actually writing the law for that part, the policy for that. However, there's no way they're doing it just by themselves. So I would say absolutely it's coming from that trifecta of the organizations that are actually managing this thing. As far as the actual authority, though, it's HHS. They're the ones that have the ability to change field guidance, change policy guidance, change numerous things if they want to. One of those things they're doing right now, for example, is the rule change that they're doing. If the viewers are not known about this, a rule change is where an executive agency, like the Department of Health and Human Services, they can take a policy that they have and just say, hey, we're going to make some changes to this, or we're going to solidify this thing into law. And it literally becomes law. It's the executive branch having legislative authority. It's called administrative law. It bypasses Congress, never goes to committee. There's no floor vote, obviously, because it's not even being voted on. They just notify the public, like, hey, you guys have 60 days and we're going to, you can make comments on this thing, but this will become law whenever it is that we decide to.
Now, this is what you're trying to raise awareness about, of course, that this is going to sidestep Congress. What can people do about this in their own district? And I'm sure there's plenty of members of Congress that have no idea that this is even happening. But what can people do?
Well, I'm sure most of Congress probably doesn't know. But what you can do, this is the people, because this is the majority of the fight right now, is just human beings. I worked with a few people to go through this whole document. So this rule change that they posted, it's if you download it, it's 296 pages. And they just go through like the entire policy that they have. We're going to do this. We're going to do this, this. So what we did is we went through that. We took highlights that we saw that there was major problems in. We know there's corruption in those processes. We put the page number on there, and then we wrote a note saying like, okay, HHS they've shown an inability to detect, human trafficking patterns. Therefore, this policy should not become law. And we made that 94 comments out of 296 pages. So I worked with a couple guys that basically can do website design, and they took all the information and they put it in a website, which if I can plug, is it
Please,
okay?
please. Yeah, share it. And I want all of our audience watching right now to please go to this website.
So it's truthtrench.org/defend the children. When you go there, it's going to show you like a little clock, which shows you how many days are left. And when you get there, you're going to see the clock. You scroll down a little bit. You can see like a video of how to, what the site is. That's a little, tutorial. And then you'll see a table of contents, comment number 1 through 10, comment number, 11 through 20. And you can do as many as you want. I've done all 94 more than once. And what we're going to do is you see a little red URL. Just open that into a new tab. Look to the right, there's a copy button, which copies the entirety of that little section. Go to the page that you just opened. It's the Federal Register. Paste it inside of the comment box, and then you have to complete the little process. So click the anonymous box, click the CAPTCHA box, where it's like, how many fire hydrants from the picture, one of those things. Mm-hmm. And then you submit, and you're done. And you can do this 94 times. You can do this process as many times as you want. And there's no limit to this. Like we've already got right now over 10,000 comments. Our goal is like kind of more like 50,000 comments, because we've seen before rules get shut down because so many people put in so many bad comments saying like, no, absolutely not. And this is what this campaign does.
What could be more important than, first of all, stopping these terrorists coming across the border who are here and using this asylum process fraudulently, and then also protecting these children who are being shuttled across the borders and being used as sex slaves and worse, and being sold off in absolute horrible things that we've documented here on this show before. I mean, what more can you do if you've got a few minutes of your time to jump on the internet and do something like this so that make Congress aware that this is happening? Have you alerted, it sounds like you have, and with your whistleblower protection and then coming forward and sounding the alarm about this, you've told the Biden administration about this. What have they done?
Nothing. So all the policies that are in place are still in place. And I came out, by the way, 2 years ago. So this is not new information. And what I blew the whistle on specifically was, the amount of just fraud, the amount of the lack of operation, a whole bunch of things. Like you could have made like probably 7 changes to the program just based on that alone. And there's more you can do which is more classified, which is why I didn't release it. And nothing got changed. One of the biggest things is there is a cap on this watch list, by the way. So I'm sure you know about terrorists, right? And they have the terrorist watch list. There's no limit to that. There's over 1 million identities on the TSDB, the terrorist screening database. And that's that way for a reason, because there's a lot of terrorists in the world. Well, this TOC watch list, the Transnational Organized Crime Watch List, this thing's capped at 40,000 entities. So there's no more than 40,000 people on this watch list.
Why is it capped?
It's like
just like an artificial cap? It's just
Exactly. It's capped because it was argued for by entities of the U.S. government. So I was there in these meetings, and I was actually on phone calls with our own counsel arguing against it, because the majority of the program is very enforcement minded. Again, this is like FBI, this is CBP, ICE. These people want to go after bad guys. And we were all arguing, like, do not put a cap on this watch list. Like, it's already working. We know how it works. We can manage it. Like, don't worry about it. But it was the lawyers, the general counsel for DHS proper, the Office of Chief Counsel for USCIS, and the DHS Office of Policy. That was the only elements, or those were the only elements that were arguing for, solidifying this watch list at 40,000, maybe increase it to 50,000, but it would go up in increments of 10,000 at a time. But the problem also was, if you were to make a claim for asylum, you were to come off this watch list. So the entire time it's growing, they're also flying off the watch list because they're utilizing the asylum process, which is why this is a really big deal. When I came forward in 2021, I was like, oh, wow, I did a little mathematical model of just how many border crossings there were, the size of these gangs in reality. And it's like, man, there's got to be like a couple thousand of these sponsors that are actually MSRT members. This is pretty wild. And then when I met Tara Rodas, who was an HHS whistleblower, and she told me what she saw and the rate that they were going through, and it became realized, like, oh my gosh, this is in the tens of thousands. And then when I talked to more whistleblowers, I talked to more like inside sources at HHS, they were confirming numbers that it's more like 35 to 45% of these kids are getting trafficked at the minimum. And so that number, 35%, is what we see now. People keep saying the 85,000 missing children, right? That number, first off, comes from 2 reporting periods, FY 2021, FY 2022.
So it's probably
that has
much worse by
way
now.
more. As of right now, that has no data included from October 1st, 2022 through today. So that whole over a year right now is missing data. I can promise you the number of trafficked kids in that program for just these past 3 years, it's got to be north of 125,000, 150,000. I would not be shocked if it's about, honestly, probably closer to 200,000.
And these children, of course, are being housed in these facilities by contractor facilities that are being funded by, in large part, by the United States government. And then they get a call to transport one of these children. These contractors take the child to an airport, hand them off to these families. There's really only one follow-up phone call. And if they don't even get a hold of them on the phone, that's it. No more checkups. Really, we're done. We don't really have to. These wellness checkups are laughable. Where do these kids wind up? We have no tracking, really no reporting on this at all. And this is happening in the United States of America. The largest trafficker of children in the world is happening in the United States. So when people are on their way to the Target on a Saturday afternoon or going to their kid's soccer game on a Saturday afternoon, just think about how many hundreds of thousands of children are being shuttled around the United States right under our eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no willingness, it seems like, either in part of Congress or the Biden administration to do anything about it. And it continues and it continues.
Correct. And this is, I hate to say it's every state, but it's basically every single state. You know, Texas alone has like 52 of these facilities. Who, when they're all operating, who knows? Because they can open them up, they can shut them down. The contracts are fast and they're usually no bid. So it's very hard to get a control on this thing. And that's been kind of part of our thing too, is like, there's no way that HHS can be the sole authority for this information. It's like, if they're going to continue operating it, which is what we're against obviously as well, it's like we have to figure out some way to expand the jurisdiction of information for the actual, you know, all the cases, because this is really not hard to identify trafficking patterns. We know they've retaliated against it before because, again, there's brave women were there at Pomona, California, for example. They were finding these problems. They were able to go into the system, make simple queries. I mean, like, hey, this guy, like, you know, he's changing his address and he's got like 16 kids right now. And this is part of the process. And there have been rule changes that HHS has done prior, which is to remove information collection of prior sponsorship. It's a major trafficking flag. And yet HHS has shown an inability to understand that, which again, this is why we're pushing back so hard, like just trying to get people to stop this from becoming law, because if it becomes law, it's gonna be much harder to fight. If the administration changes 2025 and a president may come in and want to make changes right away, well, now it's a law. So that federal judge in Hawaii, that liberal judges, they can start fighting him on that ground too. So it might take 2 or 3 more years to get a hold of this program. If we can keep it where it's at right now, prevent the rule change from taking effect, you have the chance now to like make major changes of across the board at this point of what we can do with it. So this is why it's so important for people to go make their comments. And this is why we made the copy paste campaign. A comment can't just be like, you know, hey, I'm Aaron, I hate you, HHS, send. That won't count that. It's got to be able to source policy. You got to be able to write to why it's a bad reason. You have to actually be able to do these things. So we provided that language. If you want to alter it, go for it. No problem there at all. If they're smarter people, like, please do so. But we just made a lot of them because the entire program, top to bottom, is just rot with corruption.
Well, I want to encourage all of our audience right now watching to bookmark the website, write it down. You don't have to do it right now, but when you have an hour on your hands at nighttime, sit down with a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, sit down with a spouse, a loved one, a partner, I don't care who, share it on Facebook, tell your friends, everyone should get it. Send an email and let them know to go to this website. Can you give the website? We'll put it up here on the screen once again.
Yep. It's truthtrench.org/defendthechildren.
All right. And we'll have it linked up in the description. We have it here on the screen. So pause the video, write it down, and take action on this. Aaron, thank you so much for blowing the whistle, being brave on this. And I'll get you out of here on this. Has the government come back at you at all for blowing the whistle? Have you had to deal with a lot of crap as a result of it?
I mean, they fired me. But the best thing about that is, like during this whole process, because I blew the whistle on 3 things. I was not quiet once I saw the corruption.
So when you were fired, but don't you have whistleblower protection? I mean, isn't that exactly what whistleblower protection laws are supposed to do to prevent that kind of action? We've seen the retribution on the part of the FBI agents, of course, who've been had their lives ruined as a result of coming forward and talking about the corruption at the FBI.
Yeah, there's I mean, they've got their ability to do whatever they want to do. They can say I didn't follow whatever procedure. However, I followed enough of it, and if I went the slow route, we wouldn't be here today. We'd be 6 months behind it, in my understanding. But the best thing is when they fired me, they only said we don't trust you anymore. They never told me I was lying. They never said I was wrong. They didn't say I just I was gone crazy. It was just we don't trust you anymore, and this is sorry, but you're gone now. So there's nothing wrong with that. I can't be upset about it. That's not a thing to be upset about. So yeah, I lost my career, but I'm doing this now, so I'm happy.
Well, you're a hero, and you're saving lives, and so
everyone that makes comments is doing so as well. So please make comments, and I thank you all.
Aaron, thanks so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for watching this segment here at Redacted. We are live every day at 4 p.m. Eastern time, trying to share the stories that the mainstream media will not cover. You should also come over and join our community of Redacted Rebels over at Redacted.
Pause the video, please, Janet.
Okay, I am.
Hey,
Sorry.
Jimmy Rizzo, if you don't like 4 people that are discussing and listening to a video, that's fine. But get fucked if you get offended, okay? Be well, fucker.
What? What happened? What did he say?
I was typing a back and forth with a friend of mine, going back to the chat here and there, and I popped back, and Jimmy Rizzo's like, not even use real voices. This guy's fuck these guys. I'm like,
real voices? What are real voices?
Who's real voice on the video?
Jimmy Rizzo, 2022, no real voice, crap, bye. And Janet's like, bye, thank you for coming. And I'm like, fuck you, Jimmy.
Real voice? What do you? I don't get it.
I don't know. I don't know what the fuck. We're all one-sided. Like that's just complaints and bitches. Like, dude,
look at our fucking country right now. What's not to bitch about?
I mean, the thing is, we were listening to what they were saying so we could talk about it afterward. Like what I was about to say was,
go ahead.
Today, Dick Durbin denounced being able to release Epstein's list.
Yes.
Okay.
That fucking faggot.
Why is this administration adamant about all these trafficked children? And Sound of
They
Freedom,
are all evil. They are all
that's
fucking
right,
evil.
because they got their little greedy hands all in this mess, and they're making money off of little kids' lives.
Organs,
As
everything they want.
Yeah, slaves.
The reason why
all the different
You
things.
gotta.
that
Here's a terrifying thing when you
and
think
this
about it.
guy apparently likes that.
I know, but here's the thing: it's so terrifying, and from my perspective, think about this: mass human sacrifice has been going on legally in this nation since the 60s, since the beginning of the feminist revolution, and it's all in praise of their God, their evil, Satan. They're doing this, and we're letting it happen. And it's enough is enough. This is insane. And they're taking this world down a dark path because they want darkness. It's coming, and you gotta. It's coming. It's really, really evil.
The reason why
we can't talk about we can't stop talking about this. I'm sorry, Orange Hat. Sorry.
The reason why Durbin doesn't want the list revealed is because his name is on it.
Yeah,
let's be honest. I'm willing to bet at least 50, at most 200 to 300 of our congressional members' names are on that list. Because let's face it, Clinton's on that list.
Saw pictures of him. You saw pictures of him with that girl. Jesus.
Didn't they have a couple lists that came out showing the people that were on the plane logs or whatever?
Yeah,
the islands?
They released some of those logs,
and that
Clinton
was
one
in
of them.
WikiLeaks. Okay, so you got Julian Assange locked up for forever, and everybody's saying they're going to bring him to extradite him to America and whatever else to face charges for whatever, I don't know. But the thing is, for WikiLeaks, and then you had the young man that died that leaked some information about how they were screwing over Bernie Sanders and whatever else during the whole thing with Hillary Clinton. And then he ends up dead because he got robbed and shot twice in the head or something.
Yeah.
Just all this stuff. It's so corrupt. So many people's hands are in everybody's pockets. And then we got a few people that are trying to say, hey, these are children. The fact that the hundreds and hundreds of kids every day go through this shit, one kid is more than too many. Okay. One child. There shouldn't even be one child being handed over to any gangs or to work for anyone. If you got a 5-year-old kid, it should be with his parents. I mean, it's just repulsive. All of this just makes me want to barf. Okay. It's just disgusting. And I can't believe, that we have a government that this corrupt, that won't even release. We got 2 people that were convicted of child trafficking, or these young women from Epstein's Island. Giselle Maxwell, she's in prison. The other guy supposedly killed himself in prison, but yet one person has been convicted of taking these kids from these 2 people that are in prison for doing it. Where's the people that did it?
Exactly.
How do they traffic people with young girls with nobody they traffic to? And they won't release any names? Why? And how come 6 girls so far have been found dead? Car accidents, committed suicide, different things are happening, and these girls are just slowly being picked up one by one. I mean, it's just, all of this is just ridiculous. And I can't believe that nobody's doing anything.
I mean,
that's why they're desperate. They don't want Trump in there. Trump, at least during Trump, we had kids being saved every month. Every month, I saw it on the news. They were saving kids left and right.
Yep.
And now it's just like they got a giant buffet laying out there coming over the border with all these babies and young girls and young boys being taken by these gangs and these cartel members to be pimped out. And then when they're done, or when the kids are so drugged up and unused or not be able to use anymore, can't even get them to walk or anything, they just harvest their organs and sell them. See, they don't even give a shit because these are just pieces of meat. These are not people to them.
Right.
And it's up to you and me to fight for these kids.
Yep.
We're all that's left. We are all that's left.
When I was starting my channel, like first year in, and the whole cuties thing started, I did a video that warned people what would happen. And this is on the entertainment side of this, because they're both interconnected, political and entertainment, where I told people, if cuties is allowed to be normalized and released, it will happen years down the road where they're going to normalize sexualization of children. Eventually, they're even going to want children to be having sex on screen. Yes. And then they're even going to go further with the debauchery. I did a video just, I believe, yesterday about the Saltburn director, Emerald Fennell or whatever her name. She wants to turn Jurassic Park into an erotic fiction where human and dinosaur are getting it on. And Bounding actually label it's like, I don't know if she knows this, but that's bestiality. That is, well, if you look at your Bible, that's an automatic death sentence according to the Bible law. If you lay with beasts, you are to be put to death. Now, that is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to how debaucherous Hollywood, politicians, and all of them are, where they are saying publicly, sure, this stuff is reprehensible, but they're actually doing it behind the scenes.
Mhm.
And now you have movies and you have people who are openly talking about this saying, oh, well, we should allow people to be as expressive as they want. No, we need to get a sense of morality back. Because if you are even thinking about putting a child in a sexual situation in a movie, which is where this is going, I said it years ago and I still stand by it because it's literally happening now.
Mhm.
Honestly, you should be put down like the freaking animal you are. I'm sorry to say it, folks, but yes, people
Yep.
who are advocating for this stuff, we have, or there used to be a death sentence for that. And it used to be enforced in certain states where these people were serving multiple consecutive life sentences and they would not ever get out. Honestly, you want to solve a lot of big problems right here, folks. All these people are getting away with crimes right now.
Hmm.
And look at Chicago. Look at all these places with the drugs and whatnot. How about it's to the point where if you are to get any sort of law and order back into this country, you are going to have to go down an extreme route, meaning the punishments are going to have to be more than just fit the crime.
Mhm.
Meaning, say you get drug dealers or say you bust up a drug ring, every single one of those people in there, you're going to get 15 to 20 years in prison. No deals, nothing. You get out and you do it again, you'll get 50 years. You'll
Mhm.
die in prison. That's just for drugs, folks. You put it this way: you get caught diddling a kid, that's life in prison. If you are found guilty beyond reasonable doubt, you will be taken out as soon as that is found out, or as soon as that is determined beyond reasonable doubt and found guilty. You will be taken out in front of the courthouse, and you will be publicly put on your knees in front of a camera, and you'll be executed. What we need to do, what this country and this law needs to do, is start making people fear to break the law again.
Hmm.
Mhm.
They actually need to show you this is what is going to happen to you if you continue down this path. All those kids who are rioting in New York, Chicago, give them 10 years, no deals, no early release, no parole, none of that. Give them 10 years in prison. And I
Mhm.
guarantee you, all those parents who will be outraged and whatnot, it's like, you want to be arrested too? You're the ones who didn't freaking teach these kids. You should honestly be arrested and put in jail for 5 years, each of you, for the one
Yep.
or for failing to teach your kids any sort of basic sense of morality. And
Mhm.
if anybody wants to come at me and say, "Oh, you're just being racist," no, I didn't even mention
Yeah.
race
Yeah. Why does race have
because
to do with any of it? When it comes to any child, whether the child is
white,
Hispanic,
black, Hispanic,
white, yeah,
anything, I don't care
anything.
what the race is,
Yeah,
they get that
it's a
punishment.
child. It's a child that deserves to be a kid, to play with dolls and trucks and
Mhm.
have dreams of being a fairy princess or a pirate. Okay, that's what a kid's supposed to be worried about, not whether or not who's going to rape them tonight. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Hey, I just went through this. I just went through one of my nieces being assaulted and having to go to court
Mm.
and do all that stuff for the guy to get. He pled for 20 years, but after 5 years, he's going to go up for his first parole hearing. 5 years, okay,
Yeah.
for grooming and molesting and doing horrible mental stuff to a young kid. Okay. And it took almost 2 years just to get this to go to court. But the thing is that we've got to start punishing people when they break the law. If you get up and you have to go and get a driver's license and have insurance on your car, put tags on your car and do all those things, or you can get arrested, okay, or pay fines and all that stuff. But a kid can go and get their balls cut up at 12 and never be able to ever have a child without their parent even being involved. And then they'll come back later and say, well, you didn't do a good job with your kid, so we're going to take your kid from you because you were a terrible parent to let your kid go get its balls cut off. Okay.
Do you know what?
You see what I mean?
But you know, I realized something else that goes with it. You just said right now. I didn't know this, that most people who transition lose all sexual gratification.
Yeah.
So,
well, yeah, because you are
They can't
operating
perform.
on their you're operating on their erogenous centers.
You're taking their penis and pulling, if you do the surgery. See, most of these adults that are getting transition male to female are just getting boobs. Okay.
Yeah.
And then they're getting injections. They still have a penis. There was 2 contestants in the Miss Universe pageant that had penises. Okay. They were still men. Okay. Competing with women. Okay. And honestly, any of you guys saw one of these women walking down the road with a penis, you wouldn't know they had a penis. I mean, they spent a lot of money getting ribs removed, getting beautiful boobs, taking injections, shaving, getting electrolysis done, getting their Adam's apple taken off, all that stuff. They look great. Okay.
Has Dylan Mulvaney even got the
if
bottom
I had that
surgery
much
yet?
money to spend on me,
He's still got a
shit,
dick.
man, I'd be
He
looking
still
like
has a dick.
Marilyn
Still has
Monroe
a
or
dick.
something. So I'm just saying,
Fruitcake
money
fucking
can
fag.
do it. But guess what?
Motherfucker.
We're
Ridiculous fag.
expected to pay for these people that are in prison to get their penises inverted to where they have it. Now I have a vag, and then have their ball sacks turned into lips, you know, all this stuff.
I mean,
and you and I are going to pay for it. So
here's the
this guy
thing.
could be a rapist, murderer, be transitioned, and now he's in the women's prison because he's a pussy and he don't want to get raped every day like he did to other people. You see what I mean? It's disgusting. And we, you and me, are going to work sweating like pigs, and they're taking money out of our check and they're paying for these assholes to get all this shit done to them. And then we're the ones that are bad. We're the racist pigs. We're the bad people because we don't want to defend these people that are doing this to our kids.
Saul Alinsky accused those that doing
nuts.
what you're doing.
It's crazy.
And
no one knows.
Here's another thing.
No one
Sorry,
learning.
I'm off my rant.
No, that's fine.
It's all right. And here's the thing, folks.
Disgusting.
For somebody like me to actually say there needs to be no deals for these kind of people,
100%.
for those of you who know my channel, I was put in jail and accused of disgusting crimes against kids.
Jesus Christ.
Obviously, I was innocent. I was Me Too'd before the Me Too movement even got started. And I was unfortunately coerced into taking a plea deal. Now, no, I didn't have to register or anything. It was just a misdemeanor endangering the welfare of the child or of a child thing that they hit me with. No other or nothing other than that. But the reason why I say no deals is because if you are innocent, you should be able to fight it in court, and you should be able to be found innocent. And also, for those of you who are talking about the whole transgenderism thing in jails and whatnot, whatever your biological sex is, you go into that gender of jail. When I was inside, there was a man who identified as a woman. He was put in with the males. He's saying, I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe. I need to go in with the women. It's like, you're a guy, you got a dick, get in your cell, shut the hell up. That is how deputies handle or need to handle this stuff, because it doesn't matter what you think you are. What matters is the biological facts of what you are. And believe me, I could tell you stories, but that's for another time.
But I 100% agree with you. I mean, it's already to the point right now, and I'm a woman. Okay, I was born a woman. I've given birth. Okay, I know I'm a woman. Okay, and I'm sure
you're not a birthing person?
all three. I'm sure all three of you are real men, and they were
It's an
born
alien.
men, right?
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
Let me show you.
So
Just kidding.
with that fact, if you decided that one day you wanted to date a woman, okay, and you met a couple of women and you were dating them, but guess what? Today, the way things are, and let's say you want to have a family, like Ruben was talking about, he's wanting to have a baby, right? And then he meets this woman online or whatever, and they date, and then they end up getting married. But years and years go by, and she can't have kids. Well, why is that? Because she was never a woman.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
and
know,
the
right?
only way he would know is by DNA. I mean, I've seen the surgeries. I've told people, you need to go watch the documentaries and see these surgeries. Unless some of these are so good, they spent so much money, you wouldn't know they weren't a woman. Okay, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
feel bad for you guys. It's so easy to see every single person that I've seen on a documentary that's had surgery becoming a man. It's almost like there's no way anyone would be fooled by it, right?
It's
But men, I'm telling you right now, I've seen a couple of these gals, and I'm telling you, I couldn't tell.
I'll
Unless
tell
I,
you.
Some
Well,
that are very
but
convincing
I'll say
with
this.
the surgeries they have received. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's documented. There's a Emmerford Cocktail Lounge with Matt Foulball Productions that they brought this up, and he basically lead it up. Ruben doesn't know this, but I'm going to do this to him right now because again, I'm known as the love doctor on the Foulball Productions because I basically am I'm telling people how to treat a lady, how to treat her right, and you'll find love. But what's so funny is that only for me, they showed me 20. Is this a woman or not? Yes or no? And I nailed it 100%. I got it right. I could tell. Tell because again, when I look at a woman, I look into her eyes and her soul. That's the most important thing. As a real gentleman does that, and I'm a real gentleman. I'm that way. I don't do the one night stand thing. It's to do that. I look for love. That's the most important thing.
Same.
And again, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, which it did for my former girlfriend, which I'm still heartbroken for that, but I had to, protect myself because she needs to go through, people need to go through their things. And that's the most important thing. I'll tell this to everybody right now, no matter what you are worthy of love and you need to guard yourself. Again, sex, intercourse is not love. It's not making love at all. You make love with your soul, and your body is secondary, and you have to put your essence into it. And no one's doing that now. What you see on the internet, with websites, on Netflix or whatever website, OnlyFans or blah blah blah, it is not real. It is just superficial. It is artificial, just like artificial intelligence is artificial.
That's what I
too.
always say. Get to be friends with the person. Get to know them. What's their favorite color? What's their favorite song? What's you guys' favorite game? What's your favorite movie? Your favorite meal? Do things together. Actually know what each other likes.
Exactly.
Then the next step is, all the romantic and the woohoo, the fun stuff that goes along with the relationship. The sad fact is with Tinder and all these other swipe left, swipe right crap, you're starting in the middle of the relationship where it should be, right? But you're not, and you're sleeping with someone you don't even know anything about, and then you're trying to go from that fact to actually having a relationship. It to me, that's wrong. It's messed up the whole system. Because when you meet someone, you bump into each other at the library or whatever, and your eyes meet, and you have that instant excitement, your butterflies in your stomach or whatever happens when that happens to you, you're missing out on that because you've already started out where, oh wow, she's not too bad looking. Let's go boink. And that's it. That's your relationship. To me, there's no way. I wouldn't do it. But the thing is, so I'm an old prude. Nobody's interested because I don't agree with that stuff. But guess what? I know there's guys out there that feel the same way. Okay. If you're wanting to have a lasting relationship that you think is going to last a while, you've got to take some time to make it be something. You can't just, I don't know why our divorce rates are through the roof. It's because of stuff like that.
There's a question in the chat.
G-Fan raises a good question. talking about
Yeah.
relationships, do you
Yes.
feel that younger people are not taught how to act socially by the parents?
Correct.
There's a interesting thing about
Maybe,
that.
depending on the parents.
Depending on the parents, yes. And when it comes to social development, when it comes to relationships and whatnot, as a person grows and then they get into a relationship, and then yes, sex comes into it. Believe it or not, sex is something that does help build a social or is something that builds social development.
Mhm.
This is actually proven in medical study and whatnot.
Well, it
For
made
those
your
of
bond stronger
and
because
yeah,
when you share yourself, your personal, deepest, most intimate self with another person, that should bond you together because you're giving each other a part of yourself. To me, at least
Mm.
that's how I look at it. And it's not like you're just going to go down the street and give it to that guy or that gal or that girl and this guy.
yeah.
It's worth something. It should be special between two people, and that's what makes it more lasting, because it's not something you just share with everyone else.
Yep.
And if you're sharing it with everybody, then why is it special?
Yep.
It isn't.
And as Bruce in the chat says, I wish courting was still a thing. I have often said that I was born in the wrong time. I mean,
Well,
I
it
am
can
very
be.
old-fashioned in
It
many
can be
ways.
something. It can be.
Yeah. And not only that, if you look at people who are, say, in their 30s, have never had sex, and honestly, you'll notice that if you look at some of them, they are very socially awkward. They tend to be more introverted and whatnot, and that's
Yep.
because they never reached out, they never had that ability to socialize and have any sort of relationship status, not necessarily sexual, but social even,
Yeah.
because well,
I know a
they
lot of
were
people.
or something happened to them.
I,
I
I
mean,
know
me.
quite a few people that have had lots of sex, but
Mhm.
they don't know how to sit and have a conversation
Yeah, it's because all they wanted, or they got too caught up
because
into it,
they
and that's all
thought
they
that
want.
just jumping in the sack with everybody, that was social. But see,
Yep.
it isn't. I mean,
No.
being able to hold a job, being able to go into have an interview with someone, just being able to sit and play a board game with someone, you have to have skills, social skills and cues. Like, to me, you know what? One of the best things I think, if people could do it with your kids, is what my mom did and my grandmother, is play cards. You play poker, you get that poker face, everyone knows. But the whole thing is learning the tell signs from other people by playing games with them about whether they got a good hand or a bad hand or a
How they
mediocre
handle
hand.
disappointment.
Yeah, all that. And not winning all the time. That's another thing. The kids throw tantrums because they didn't get a trophy.
Yeah.
Because all
And
the kids are
that's
expected to always win.
Yep, and that's
Just
something
lots
that
of things.
is
Oh my God! Participation trophies ruined America.
yes, it
We
did
just played
because
base
Soccer
10
did. Soccer, when soccer
for
came to America, that
Thanksgiving,
fucked everything
and
up.
it was tough. And we were all fighting to win. And I hadn't played base 10 in like 10 years. And it was a lot of fun. There was like 9 of us all sitting around the table playing, all trying to get the best cards or whatever. And it was a lot of fun. I didn't win, but I came close. I was, I think, 3rd place out of 9, which is pretty good. But it was still fun. It was a lot of fun, but it's missing because I grew up playing games. My whole family played games.
I mean,
Dominoes, cards, board
same
games,
here.
and reading. We'd get up and do charades, stuff like that. We just did a lot of fun things. But when you have 5 kids and you don't have a lot of money, my mom was just very good at coming up with things for us to do and to keep us, out of trouble and stop to not fight with each other.
Yeah, we
So,
only
Take it
we only
easy,
played one game.
soy based.
so it's lucky.
Apparently, something has made soy based Jeremy a little uncomfortable.
Uh-oh.
What happened?
Oh, no. Him and I are talking about it in DMs.
Oh,
All right.
okay.
But anyway, yes, participation trophies. Look at that gamer that shut up a freaking mall because he lost his game. That's because he was somebody who never learned
Mhm.
the importance of what disappointment is. You have to, or they never learned how to process disappointment and failure because they were always told, oh, you're special, you're a winner, you're this, you're that. No, me, when I was young and we lost, yeah, you lost. You're not getting an ice cream. You got to do better. That's how you learned how to improve yourself. And when it came to Uno, family was bloodthirsty, man. We were ruthless. We didn't freaking care. It's like Uno is the best freaking game to teach your children about disappointment, about how unfair life is and whatnot. Because Rocky said it best. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. Very mean, very cruel place. And I don't care how tough you think you are. It'll beat you to your knees and keep you there if you let it. You, me, no one will hit as hard as life. But it's not about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward.
And we know that. We know this because if you can look around and you have a society that doesn't even think children are worthy of even trying to protect, how do we end up there? I'm telling you right now, if I was walking down the street or at a grocery store or doing anything like that, and I saw someone abusing a kid, slapping them around, or beating them, punching them, kicking them on the ground, or even anyone on the street, an old lady, anyone, I would probably get killed because I would go to defend that person because that's how I was raised.
I have defended people.
Same here. I've done that too.
So,
there was a case where actually this was in high school. Kid was being in this high school years, like 9th or 9th grade. Kid throws a freaking tennis ball at a girl who was in crutches. I just went right up and it's like, kidney shot, dude. You don't freaking do that's assault, man. You're assaulting them. He's like, well, what do you call you? Or what you just did? I'm a practitioner of accountability. But also there was this mom who wasn't paying attention to her kid, and her kid was standing up in the cart.
yeah,
and he wanted to jump out of the cart. And the mom's just not paying attention. Well, the kid jumps. I reach out and I grab the kid's freaking ankle by the leg. That's when the mom decides to turn around. What the hell are you doing to my? It's like saving his life.
Yeah,
that happened. It happened to me. I'm okay. I'm not having a seizure. I'm just my muscles get very weak and I can't talk, which is fine. I'll still keep going. But I've stopped 7 rapes and I've saved one person from dying. But again, and then when I've helped other people, doing this. But again, the very first time.
Action, though. I mean, a man should, if he's available to stop an act of harm against a weaker individual, go and protect said individual.
Yeah,
that's just
but again,
what you are endowed to do by your creator.
But what was so funny with this situation, and I'll just tell it very briefly, is the first time this happened to me was in Chicago. I was in the dorm room at IIT, the Illinois Institute of Technology, south side of Chicago, right, just a stone's throw away from Comiskey Park back in the 1990s or early 90s. And it's a summer night, one of the hottest days of the year. The dorms are windows are all opened, and I hear someone screaming from across Michigan Avenue. And the cars going across. Cars are driving across, and no one's stopping. The person is bleeding in the street, screaming in the back. It's happening. I call the police, and then nobody does a thing in the dorms out there. And I see the cars driving around her as she's on the ground. And I go run out there. Run out there. Big guy going out there. And then get that, take that, and I would do it again, even though what happened at the end of that situation. She got the ambulance came, took her, got her. She was okay. The car showed up from the boyfriend again, and since I saw it, I walked over to the cops and said, "Hey, there he is." And they walked over and got him. And then I pointed out, that's him. And then it happened, and I accept that. She yelled at me for turning him in. And I don't care, because it's right. And she needs to learn that. And that's the whole idea. There are a lot of people out there that accept the abuse they were given and think they're not worthy. And again, I'll say everyone is worthy. You have to wake up to what's going on in this world and just guard yourself if you need to, but you have to act, because we are living in very, very dark times. But again, I still have hope. I haven't reached apathy yet. And once I reach apathy, it's bad. Then that leads to me going to the next level, which is indifference, which is the opposite of love. It's not hate. Hate is not the opposite of love. Indifference is. And I'm about to go there. And if I do that, the whole system collapses, because I'm out of here. I'm not doing. I don't want to go. That's why I'm fighting for my life and the life of the future. And there's someone out there, I hope, that's going to basically want to start life with me and continue that aspect and bring life and love into the world again, because there is still
But
hope.
the only way you will ever find anyone is if somebody knows that you're looking, right?
Well, I think I've been telling everybody for the last
Well,
whole
I
year. Whatever.
know. But the thing is, but every time you come out like this and someone else might see you, that's what you got to do. The thing is, if you just sit in your house and you stay on your computer and you just sit there,
Correct.
no one's going to meet you. So
Right.
Yeah.
the thing is not hiding. It's
No.
being,
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
something.
Be out there. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean,
once you
one,
do that, it'll work.
Yeah.
You know, I needed. I'm breaking this out as a special occasion.
So
Cool.
I got it. Look at that.
One or thing, or you mentioned apathy before, which is interesting, Ruben, because there have been times where I am one of the most caring people out there. I care my friends, family, and whatnot. I don't like to see them in pain and such. So when there are those, or however, for people like me, the opposite is true as well. If you have shown me that you are not worthy is not the right word, but in lack of a better word, worthy of the respect that I give to people, and if they have not earned it, I can be deeply sociopathic in my indifference towards them. And this has once shown through where a person who was a friend of mine, they tried everything to they tried low blows, all of it, to try to get me to care again. And it's like, here's the thing. You've betrayed a trust. For somebody like me, that is like violating all 10 of the 10 commandments at once. I do not care about you. You could drop off the face of the earth, and I would acknowledge it, yes, but that is where it ends.
Yeah.
If you would have stayed, or if you would have been a loyal friend and whatnot, we wouldn't be in this position. So a person who is now dead once said, I could be your best friend or I could be your worst nightmare. I leave it to you to decide. And that is the best way to be, or that is a very good way of living, because it's not necessarily as black and white as that, but it is basically letting a person know, I can be your friend or I can simply just be an acquaintance, and if we go our separate ways, so be it. And that is something that really needs to get or be taught to kids nowadays. They need to understand parents are not your friends. They are your parents. They're not supposed to be your friends. They will never be your friends.
Mhm.
They are there to teach you the lessons of life. And you need to learn them in order to thrive.
Yep.
Yep, that's true.
But also, when you do have somebody that you want to be friends with, you also have to be a good friend.
Oh,
And
indeed.
that's one thing that I've seen is that it seems it's so many different relationships. You have two people and one person doing most of everything. And the one that's doing most of everything is the one that's miserable and that wants out, but then they don't want to be the bad one, you know? And so until that person realizes that it's not going to get better if you're if you're in a one-sided relationship, it isn't going to work.
Nope.
So you have to get the courage to say ta-ta and
Yes,
leave. And
that
then
is true.
when you do meet someone else, to not let that same thing happen again, you know, to make sure that when you go, that's why I think when people get divorced, that normally either the second or the third time is it's always better because they actually learn a few things each time and implement it in the next relationship. So that's why it's good to date for a while before you jump in. You know what I mean? Because once you jump in, you're committed to something. A lot of people will stay just because they have a commitment, not because they love each other anymore. And that's really sad to see that kind of thing happen in people's relationships. But it takes two. You have to any friendship. Two people should be involved trying to be the best friend they can be or the best person in that person's life instead of one person seeming to do everything while the other one just sits around and it's like, well, you know, and that's not a relationship. And if you have that, then you're never gonna be happy because you're the only reason why there's even a relationship, right? So, you know, everyone needs to evaluate their life. But the thing is, if every day you get up and you look in the mirror and you tell yourself, I'm worth it being happy, you know, I'm worth it. And you have a lot to offer someone, whether it's making them laugh, cooking for them, just holding their hand, sharing funny stories with them, watching a movie together, all those things. Everyone deserves to have someone like that in their life. And whether it's just their best friend or whether it ends up being their lover or just a really close friend that you share intimate things with, and then you go on your day, but you know that that person's trustworthy and you have someone to put your shoulder, you know, their shoulder out so that you can lay your head on it and share information or whatever, just to know that someone's there to listen. A lot of people need that, and people don't realize that it hurt society when we went through this whole thing with the COVID because people were forced to not be together. And I think we're going to see record numbers of divorces and stuff after all this, the dust settles from this, because
Oh God, it already happened.
one person got a divorce because one got the jab and the other one didn't,
Yep.
or one lost their job and the other one didn't, and it felt like the one that kept the job had to pay all the bills or whatever the reasons are.
Yeah, a lot of men who a lot of men who lost their job, who had a lot of hardship during this whole time because the women just left them because again they and it's a sad thing. They just the for better or for worse, for richer or for poorer, they just threw that out. They don't care.
Yep. Because that's the sad fact is a lot of people get married. They don't look at it like, what was it? Was it you, Orange Hat, that said the commitment is gone? Was it you that said that? That people don't put commit into anything anymore, for a job or for anything that they're involved in. They just kind of go, they're not, wanting to fulfill a need. Okay. Why should they? Why should you go get a job when the government's already giving you money for doing nothing? Right.
Yeah, that yeah.
So you don't have any want. Okay. And my mom said, okay, you guys want an annual for school? You got to get a job and make some money to buy your senior ring, to buy your annual or a school t-shirt or whatever it is that you want, because she had 5 kids. So we all like babysat or mowed yards. We did, dusting, cleaning. I did a lot of stuff to save money. So by the end of the school year, I had enough money to buy an annual or whatever it is that I wanted through school. But parents don't do that anymore. A kid gets an allowance and they didn't do nothing. They didn't even have to get good grades. So, and that's a lot of that falls on the parent. Yeah, it was you, Orange Chat, when you were saying how when the person in the crowd or in the chat had asked that question, about, is it the parent's fault or is it the kid? You know what I mean? So it's a little of both, I think, because a child is a child and they need a parent.
Yeah. And then going back to what just grumpy old ninja just said regarding victimization. Yeah, it's crazy. But again, this also, in what you said, victimhood and is victims not villains. If some become victims, all that.
Mm-hmm.
But what's important to remember also is our language is changing, and words are changing their meanings, and they have for a long time. And again, the one thing I always say, I am the villain in this story, and I say that in the old school way. The elite in the medieval times said that the villagers were the ones responsible, pointing responsibility for the Black Plague on those unclean, the ones that didn't want to conform.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole idea. So then we had to realize that word, the root word is villager. Vigilante, someone takes into their own hands. They have demonized individual, saying no more. And that must end today.
Well, okay. I think it's time to step to the last part of the show that I want to talk about, the UFO thing, about the government hiding lots of information. So I'm going to play this Tucker interview, and then we can talk about it. But it's only, I think, like 18 minutes long. So it shouldn't take that long to get it out there, but make sure you guys can hear it and everything. Let's see. Here we go.
Earlier this year, Congress passed something called the UAP Disclosure Act of 2023. The law requires the U.S. government to tell the public what it knows about the countless unidentified flying objects that have been spotted in the skies above Earth over the past 3,000 years. It's designed to be, and it very well could be, a transformative piece of legislation. And it comes at a time when we can finally say with confidence that the most unlikely sounding theories about UFOs are actually true. Yes, these things are real. They're not all weather balloons. They're not experimental aircraft from this or any other country. Whatever they are not of human origin, nor do they behave according to the laws of known physics. And yes, the US government currently has physical evidence that they exist. That means wreckage of the craft as well as the bodies of the beings that flew them. Amazingly, all of this is true. We know that from the detailed testimony, much of it under oath, from several high-level whistleblowers, including longtime intel officers Lou Elizondo and Dave Grush, both of whom we've talked to. But there have been many, about 10 so far. So the question is, now that the UAP Disclosure Act has passed, when can the rest of us see the information that we paid for and in fact own? Well, not so fast, it turns out. One of the great secrets of Washington, known to everyone inside Washington, is that many of the most powerful members of Congress do not work for their constituents, much less for the rest of us, for the country at large. They are instead puppets of the most secretive federal agencies. They are controlled effectively by the permanent bureaucracy, including through bribery and blackmail. Two such members happen to be especially powerful this term. They are Congressman Mike Rogers of Alabama, who is the chairman of the House Armed Services Committee, and Congressman Mike Turner of Ohio, who is chairman of the House Intel Committee. Both of these men have been instructed to violate, in letter and in spirit, federal law, and to hide the truth about UFOs from the American public. They're working to do that right now. It is infuriating to watch this. But if you think about it for a second, it's also baffling. Why is this happening? Federal agencies have been lying about UFOs for more than 80 years. This has been a coordinated effort. It is both highly time-consuming and very expensive. Many Americans have been hurt in the process. But why? What's the point of this? Wouldn't it be a lot easier just to release the facts? Now, the conventional explanation for why they haven't been released is that the US government is lying about UFOs because the truth about UFOs is too scary to reveal, that they're real, and our leaders wouldn't want to panic the population. But that's not true. In fact, it's ridiculous. Wouldn't want to terrify the population? Terrifying the population is what our government does best and most avidly. Officials regularly gin up irrational fears about COVID or white supremacy or Vladimir Putin or a dozen other topics as part of a pretty obvious control strategy. It's not like these people mind it scaring you. They want to scare you, and they do it every day. So why would they lie about UFOs? Well, because they're covering up a crime, obviously, and it's their crime. Someday we'll discover what that crime is. But in the meantime, here are a few questions that honest lawmakers ought to be asking. Have government agencies used tax dollars to procure advanced non-human technology? If they have, where exactly is that technology now? Has it been used for profit? How exactly has the American public benefited from that technology? And then this question, the most pressing of all. Has the US government communicated directly with the beings that piloted these craft? Have American officials ever entered into any sort of agreement with them? And if so, what are the terms of that agreement? These are not random questions. They are informed questions. And at this point, Americans have a moral right to know the answers. One member of Congress who might be willing to ask those questions is Congressman Tim Burchett. He's a Republican from Knoxville. Burchett is one of the very few lawmakers in Washington who seems genuinely outraged by the cover-up in progress. Here he is the other day responding to it.
And I was told by leadership that it was blocked by the intelligence community, not the intelligence committee, but the intelligence community. And that is a very chilling effect. If someone can reach through the veil of government and pierce it to the point of we do not have access to something, you got to start asking yourself who the hell's in control. And I think it'd be wise for you all to start looking at some financial disclosures of some of those corporations, some of the people who do the stonewalling in this town. I want you to think about this. Think about this, that something with the capabilities of traveling light years, not showing a heat signature, and the energy capabilities of that would put the Pentagon out of business. We wouldn't be fighting these worthless wars overseas over oil, and American boys and girls wouldn't be dying. It would put the war pigs out of business, and they'd have to go somewhere else, and I'm all for that.
Congressman Tim Burchett of Tennessee joins us now. Congressman, thanks so much for coming on. So I think a lot of that clip speaks for itself, but you are saying effectively, as I hear you, if unelected bureaucrats and defense contractors can shut down a federal law, then it's not really a democracy, then is it?
No, it's not. And you're correct. They have been able to do that through their power and influence.
I'm really struck. There is some pushback against this. I think you've been the most visible and by far the most articulate. But there are some people who are bothered by this. But I've heard almost no discussion about why it's happening in the first place. Why the effort, the enormous effort to suborn the members of Congress, the committee chairman I mentioned, and the new Speaker of the House, and the Senate minority leader, why? Why go to the effort to hide information that most Americans think they already know and have accepted?
I think it's power, influence, corruption, money, all the things, that run Washington. Our Pentagon just recently failed their 6th audit in a row. They publicly disclosed that over half their assets are unaccounted for. Now, those assets are, their automobiles, their firearms, their, personnel, everything. 50%. Could you imagine anything else? And yet we've rewarded them with billions more this year for their incredible effort. And they're bragging about how well they're doing now. And so you figure a compartmentalized department like the Pentagon, who has these untold billion-dollar contracts with our defense contractors who want us in every dadgum war, who want us in Ukraine, who want us in everything, everywhere in the world, and because they'll be selling more missile defense systems and things like that. You imagine that there's probably, I would say, a half a dozen of those top level contractors and these corporations, multinational, and then we fund them, and we don't know where the money's going, and yet there's cost overruns, and we keep rewarding them with more. So obviously, if they were in possession of some of this material or a craft or what have you, the reverse engineering possibilities would be unlimited. And they don't want to, they can control the ebbs and flows of technology, and they're on the cutting edge of it, and they don't want us out of war because and imagine too, as I've stated before, if you had this energy source that didn't show a heat trail that could heat our homes, cool our homes in the summer, heat our homes in the winter. I mean, we'd be the Pentagon will be out of business. I think I called them war pigs, but I meant to say war pimps, I believe is the appropriate term.
I think both fit.
Yeah, I do too. I get a lot of controversy. I had a call from a high-ranking official told me one time that I probably needed to get bodies around me pretty soon after making those statements. And I said, well, I'm in Tennessee. I live in Tennessee. Anybody's out of place there, they'll know it pretty quick. But in all truthfulness, these groups, and they own these politicians, whether through the honeypot or just hiring family members or what have you. And I don't have any firsthand knowledge of that going on with any of those. But that seems to be what's done in the past, and it's all done legally. Most of it is now. And so you've got these situations, and they don't want to change it. And they've got somebody's ear. I had an old time lobbyist. They called him the Golden Goose when I was in the state legislature. He was the liquor lobbyist, and he'd smoke that big cigar, and he'd say, Burchett, he said, I don't need the governor. I don't need the House, the Senate. I just need one committee chairman. And, and that's the way it works. And unfortunately, we allow it to work when less than 20% of the population goes to the polls.
The stakes in this particular story seem pretty high, since the government has evidence that we're not alone in the universe, that there is some form of intelligent life or something that is creating these crafts. They're buzzing the earth. We don't know if they're from outer space, if they're spiritual beings. I mean, we just don't know the answer, but the government does know, but they're lying about it because why? And so does it occur that maybe the billions of unaccounted Pentagon funds that you mentioned that turn up in every accounting process, that maybe that they're not lost through incompetence? Maybe those are attached to programs that we're not allowed to know about.
I completely think it's intentional, Tucker. You're exactly right, as usual. They've been lying about it since 1947. And then all of a sudden, we're going to pass legislation, and they're going to say, oh, we're going to come out and tell you the truth. I mean, this, Schumer's thing, everybody's on me because I'm not really sure about the Schumer amendment, because it basically is modeled after the Kennedy assassination files, and here we are 60 years later, and we haven't done that. I guess it's a good step forward, but the reality is we're going to tell them to tell us the truth after they've been lying to us, and they've been funding these programs. Lou Elizondo, for instance, he's the program that he was involved with for the longest period of time. They said it didn't exist, yet he shows up. He's got a department that works for him, and so this thing has just been going on, like I said, at least since 1947. And we know it's been going on maybe before then at some point. It's a worldwide phenomena. We have some of the best pilots, not in East Tennessee, the best pilots in the world, that are telling me their crafts have been buzzed by this. And I've had members of Congress say, Burchett, we need to be on something important. Well, let me ask you, what's more important than something in our airspace buzzing $50-60 million aircraft, putting American pilots at risk, and that we don't know who it is or what it is? And then we have a government that claims they don't exist. And now all of a sudden, people like yourself have brought this issue to the forefront. Over half the American public believes that they're out there. And now the Pentagon smells dollars, is what I think it is. That's why they're putting all this out. And each department, NASA and everybody else, has their little pamphlets out now of NASA's. I think it said something about we want to do robust research. Well, you know what robust research means. They want more of your tax dollars. I just want them to come forward with the truthful information that they've been hiding from us for decades.
Do we possess this technology or don't we? And if we do, where is it? And there have been, as noted earlier, a number of pretty ominous indications over the years from apparently informed people that the U.S. government has been in direct contact with these forces, whatever they are, the people who created and flew these objects, whatever they are. But there has been direct dialogue between the U.S. government, maybe other governments, and these entities. Are you aware of that? Has anyone even asked that question to, say, the President of the United States or someone else who could answer it?
I'm aware of it, and I've talked to people about it, but it's just another rabbit hole I go down. And I have to be real careful, Tucker, to be honest with you, because you would not believe the amount of research and things I've gotten poured on me from all over the world. People send me books and photographs and things. And of course, a lot of that is, I think it's fake because they're trying to get me to embarrass me further, I guess, in this issue. But I'm not biting on all of it. I don't usually put any of it out, actually, just because, I don't know if any of if it's truthful or if it's a government entity putting this garbage out to discredit, this community or what have you. But it's a complete, it shows the mistrust the public has of our government, and for good reason.
Yeah, it's been well earned. So where is this legislation going? I mean, will there be disclosure short term? Will these two committee chairmen, the Speaker of the House, Mitch McConnell, will they shut it down?
Well, the Senate passed it, the amendment to the National Defense Authorization Act, but it hasn't been signed into law yet. The House is in negotiations, from what I understand, over this amendment. I'll be talking to the Speaker today or tomorrow about this amendment and just telling him how important it is to this community and transparency. That's really all I want, is transparency. Where we're spending all this money on something, and where's it going, and why do they not trust the American public? Those are the things that people need to ask. You can, as I said at the hearing, I said we're not going to bring in a UFO. We're not going to bring in three men.
It's fucking called never a straight answer.
And unfortunately, we don't have much of that in the United States Congress, because look, there's another shiny object over here. They'll misdirect us over here. They'll misdirect us over there. But I believe this community is very, very in tune to what's going on and the cover-up that's been going on.
Yeah. I mean, if this is real, and it clearly is real, 10 people have come forward with security clearances to say, yes, it's real.
Well, the interesting thing about that was, you said 10, and that kind of jogged my memory. We asked more than 10 people to testify before our committee, and several of them were scared off. They were told by their overlords or whoever at the Pentagon that no, they could not come speak. And then the 3 that we got were dynamite, obviously, because that really lit the fuse.
I like this guy.
But there's several more out there, and several more have come forward. And I was sent a text.
Seems to be pretty straight shooting, but
getting
he
ready to
just
come on your
doesn't
show
realize
for
that
somebody
this
else.
rabbit
But again,
hole
I have to be real careful
goes
with
to a
those,
large
because
set of money
they get up
bags.
there and embarrass the whole community. Then we're
It's really not a rabbit hole. It's a black hole.
No, that's exactly right.
Yeah, it's got a sucking sound, and that sucking sound is our tax dollars.
Not even I can get out.
People who tell it. Last question. You come out with a statement that we played at the beginning of this interview, pretty compelling, kind of hard to see what the counter argument is. What do your fellow members of Congress say to you about that? And what is the excuse that they give you to your face for not disclosing this information to the public?
Well, as I've stated many times, there's several members have come forward to me, and some of them fairly prominent in both parties, that have actually seen something as a child or in the military or other things. I think now that their phone lines have been lit up, because the UFO community, if one thing, they are relentless.
Pause it.
And they call and they're informed.
Okay, hold on.
And they call and
Okay. This sounds like a pipe dream. It really does. It sounds like if we figure this shit out, we got 0-point energy, and we can possibly find the way for us to prolong the life of a dog to like 40 years, which is what all of us want. But I don't see this. This is like a wish list. It's not gonna fucking happen. They'll never let this shit come out. Not all unfold. It'd be like the guys from the guy were telling you how to build a bomb off of what you saw on the television. They're gonna leave out ingredients. They're gonna leave out information. This isn't gonna be what all these fucking UFO cultists want it to be. It's gonna be something
the
not
fact
what they
that
bought,
they
what they
even
signed up for.
told us the little bit that we have, that we weren't nuts, I think is a huge leap, considering the last 80 years, everyone was like, there was a movie that came out with Mel Gibson and the girl from Pretty Woman, remember? And he was like a conspiracy nut and nobody believed him. Yeah, conspiracy theory. Okay, remember that? Okay. Everybody that had any idea about anything that had to do with aliens or people being abducted and all this different stuff, we were all thrown over there with the conspiracy theorist people. So no, everybody, as soon as you said anything, they'd roll their eyes and they'd turn and walk the other way, right? Well, now, because of what's happened with this being released and is showing all those pilots that have come out and said they saw something, that believed it was an alien of a craft, okay, that could go zip, 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 which is impossible. We can't do that. Some of the video that I've seen that's near the space station and showing things moving around and connecting and moving around in ways that we can't do, that we don't have the technology. And this is an outer space with the space station and stuff up there, and you can see the moon in the background and all that. So they've let some of this stuff out. That is a huge, giant step, I think, in the right direction.
It's not. It's not because it's not any volume of information that you and I can grasp a hold of and be like, with this information, I don't have to worry about
that the government is saying it's real. Okay, the government is finally admitting that yes, aliens have come. We have seen them. Blah 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 blah. The aliens, and not just in our country, in other countries, are starting to. The governments are saying yes, that we have been visited from other outside of our planet, has come to our planet. So the fact that they've done that, to me, is a huge leap, because I never thought that would ever happen in my lifetime. That would always be the nuts or whatever that believe in that stuff. But I've seen things, and now I'm more likely believing now that the thing that I saw when I was a kid was probably really an alien that landed, and that's what we saw in my, in my real life feelings about something. And I'm pretty sure almost anyone in this room right now, the chat and us, know someone who's seen something or had something weird like that happen to them. So we're not nuts.
But
and
okay,
the government says so.
If what I keep hearing is the truth, then they're not going to tell us the whole truth. First off, it would cause a collapse of civilization, and you'd have belief systems that could just collapse immediately.
Yeah, but now
they're all wrong anyway. So
we have kids, though, and young people that are going to watch this and listen to what the government said, start doing research, and start digging stuff out for themselves. Okay. Just like these whistleblowers, these people that actually came out, WikiLeaks started because somebody wanted the truth out there. And look how much stuff got released on WikiLeaks.
Okay, Janet, I'm going to take you back to the early 2000s when there was a hacker and he hacked into the Pentagon and he found a bunch of fucking money going to various Department of Navy projects, and then a database full of individuals labeled extraterrestrial officers. And Gary McKinnon got pretty much hosed on that throughout the entire time.
Dangerous.
All this shit, Gary McKinnon was completely just ran through the mud for doing what most snoopers do. He was snooping, and he found some stuff he probably shouldn't have found, but they were responsible for leaving it out in the open. I mean, if it's behind a fucking paywall, firewall, fucking whatever it may be, a hacker's job is to fucking get into it. That's just what they fucking do. And so Gary McKinnon got dragged through the mud for finding out all this stuff about various things like Solar Warden or other Space Navy shit. that you guys may or may not believe in, and I don't care what you believe. I truly don't. But no matter what you and I say tonight on stream with Tucker and this fluff piece talking, flapping his gums, nothing will come of this, because no matter what, tomorrow I've got a fucking dementia patient that's the resident of the White House, and his fucking whore, the fucking, what is that brown person lady thing? Anyway, she's supposed to be his handler, and she's really just waiting for a moment to push him off the balcony.
Kamala.
Yeah, Kamala. And she's just, this is a nothing burger. As much as I want to think like this is cool, all they're doing is saying, okay, you're not crazy. Oh, by the way, earlier this year, do you remember? Yeah, we told you the CIA killed off fucking JFK. No fucking outrage. None. No outrage at all. But you motherfuckers are still there going, oh my God, look, there's more disclosure. There's more disclosure. There's not no names. There's not any addresses.
Have you not seen any of the videos that they've released when they were doing all these things in Congress?
I've watched a couple of them.
Okay.
And I've watched a couple of them. And
what do you think of the ones you got to see?
I've spent 9 hours watching Congress talk about fucking Tic Tacs. I'm pretty disappointed about my fucking tax dollar.
Yeah.
I'm just a little bit.
Would you rather your tax dollars go to Ukraine, or would you rather it go to UFO identification?
Right now, it's that black hole, that sucking sound where your money goes and it doesn't return back. Yeah. Even if you get a 3% return on your income tax, I don't think you're getting a good deal. And we're just getting fucked. That's all this is. You're still getting fucked, but now you're being distracted by one more thing. Instead of the dementia patient and the fucking whore talking about some people and some shitty little fucking Ukrainian in a green sweater saying, I need more money. I need more money. Thank God. Oh, by the way, fucking Henry Kissinger died. Fuck him and fuck his corpse. And I can't wait for the celebration in hell. I get to piss on his corpse as it roasts. Fuck him. I just, like, this is great. They're talking about UFOs. Like, yeah, we already knew they existed. I've seen them. I know people that have seen them. I've seen people do documentation about these things. I've seen plenty of shows, movies.
So have I.
I've seen all this stuff about them. And everything I keep hearing now, all this shit that's being revealed in the last 18 months through UFO purists or cultists, if you want to call them that, if it's true,
it is.
If it's true, then you are all fucked worse than what you think you're already fucked. You just don't understand how wide your asshole is going to get, because this cock gets huge. You guys just don't understand it. And
you're going to sit on a bench and it's going to disappear.
Boy, you make talking UFOs dirty, dude.
What I'm referencing is the fact that maybe, quote unquote, these aliens aren't really aliens. They're a shitty version of future humans, and they're trying to guide us to a shitty future where future humans go back and visit their 45,000-year-old ancestors.
Maybe they're trying to come here and tell us, don't look for aliens.
No, they're not only telling us that, they're showing us what they are and what they do, and then they go out and they fucking steal persons and cattle, harvest their organs, leave the bits of bodies behind, and then you have 30,000 people a year that just have no trace of where they went. They're gone. Now imagine if those 30,000 people were being harvested by these fucking space aliens, and they were using bits of various orifices, footage of gastrointestinal bits, just to keep them merely alive, which is what supposedly they're doing. But no matter what, the end of the matter is that with your short without a human life, if you ever see a UFO, leave. Get the fuck away. Get away. Don't stick around. Don't watch it. Don't film it. Just notate it like, hey, I saw a UFO over there. Where at? Did you get video? No, I ran the fuck away. Why? Because I don't want to be a missing fucking person with like 13 feet of intestine missing, most of my jaw gone, my bits of my tongue and asshole removed surgically, and no blood loss when you find the corpse. I'm not into that. I'm good.
They do love their anal probes.
Anal, yeah, I definitely don't need an anal probe because that cock is huge.
You ever seen the movie Paul?
No.
Oh, dude, you got to see it. It's hilarious.
Okay, I'll put it on the list.
Well, what do you want to know?
Especially the
Because this is
unrated edition.
Well, let me finish this. It's almost over.
Yeah.
Then we can.
And some of them actually, you know, they've called my office in support of me, and I always tell them, you know, I appreciate it, but I'm good. Y'all need to get on with your own congressman or your senators. And so they've made a great effort of that. And I believe now at Congress, even if they don't believe it, they're going to start looking into it because they know this group is well versed. And I'm glad of it because, you know, the thing that happened to me was they started this stuff and sure enough, I get home and somebody's running a poll against me to figure out my weaknesses. And who do you think's doing that? So, you know, and I fully expect this to be an issue on the ballot next time. I mean, me being on the ballot as well, that would be, you know, they're going to be running that against me. But I don't think they're going to get anywhere with it because I think they're still driving around in their 72 Vegas and their blue leisure suits with their zip-up dingo boots listening to an 8-track tape player. I think they're a little bit behind the times right now.
Who do you think? Just I'm interested. Who do you think did that? Who do you think's coming after your seat for your willingness to talk about this?
I think it's probably one of three people. You know, I don't know, maybe any of those people that you mentioned, and there's some that there's others too. I mean, you figure they've got unlimited funds, and that's what scares me about the whole thing. They have unlimited funds where they could literally buy a seat in Congress, which I know that'd be naive of me to think that that's never happened in the past, but in Tennessee we are fairly independent people, and that bothers me a great deal.
Well, it's just interesting. I mean, that they're willing to go to that effort. You think they say, you know, oh, Burchett, he's crazy, he believes in UFOs, but they're very threatened by this, which tells you that they've got something to hide that implicates them. That's what I'm learning.
Absolutely, they're threatened because people like Tucker Carlson are adding an air of legitimacy to this thing, and they know that however millions of viewers that you have are watching this, and they're scratching their head, and then they're going home to their barbershops, and some guy who was in the Navy, who was on an aircraft carrier and saw something and was told by when they got back to port that some men in some suits said, "Hey, you didn't see anything. This is national security. You ever bring this up, you're going to the federal penitentiary and break rocks for the rest of your life." You know, those stories are coming out daily, and it's happening more and more. And so I think they're taking a step back now.
Well, I appreciate your bravery very much, Congressman Tim Burchett of Knoxville, Tennessee. Great to see you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tucker. It's been a great honor. Thank you, brother.
These people have seen some shit.
Mm-hmm.
These people know stuff. I would love to be able to. I'm too old now. I can't join the military, but
what do you want to know? What do you want to know?
I don't think you really.
I don't know. I just love to see some videos and find out what kind of stuff they have, just to be able to look at it. I mean, I just think it would be awesome though. There's groups called like Odyssey of the Mind in schools for kids to learn how to like drop an egg from an airplane, but they have to build a little contraption made out of balsa wood or whatever to drop the egg in that and have it land on the earth without a parachute or anything, and keep it from breaking. Stuff like that. So if you're teaching young kids science that way to make them work and use their own minds without an adult intervening, okay, to teach them something, those are the kids that we take to these places where they have all this technology that's supposedly found, and let them figure out what it means and what it does. Because I'm telling you right now, it would be a lot faster if we were to take children in there and let the children fiddle around with it instead of a bunch of military guys that think they know everything already. Remember the story, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the original one?
Yep.
Why did Willy Wonka want kids to come to this factory and not grown-ups?
Because they believe.
Because they still believed in it. They still believed in the wonder that could be possible in Willy Wonka's factory. And that's what I really believe, that if we could get kids to see this stuff that we have collected over all this time, that they could figure out how this worked and how that worked. I'm telling you, I really do believe that, because children still believe in something. They still want to see something happen. And I just think that their imagination could bring it all to life, and we'd be better off.
Greatest
and
line.
Kids share. Kids want to share what they find out. They see it. They run and tell all their friends, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we need. We need kids to be able to help us find out what this stuff is and share it with each other.
Yeah,
So
the world we see is not the world that actually is. And again, people don't want to open their eyes. They just want to keep their head down in a book or a old document. And then that's that they'll stay in ignorance for the rest of their lives.
That's why I believe that children can be in a room. Okay. And I remember a child that saw, there was 3 pictures on a shelf. This is in one of the houses I was in. And there was a picture of my mother, one of my cousins, and I can't remember who the other person was at the time, but they were all deceased. Okay. And we were all sitting around looking at photo albums, talking about these different people that had passed. Right. And this young child, the 3, kept going over and only getting those 3 pictures, the same 3 pictures that they didn't know who they were, but they picked them up and they would talk to them, to the pictures, and put the pictures down, and then go back and get another one by the same 3 people over and over again. And I thought that was very interesting. Why? What does this child see in those pictures? And they're mixed in with, 25 other pictures. It's just, to me, little things like that is why I believe the children, if we could let children have more free reign, with things like this, with ideas, with adult supervision too, but to stay out of it and watch what happens, just like in Odyssey of the Mind, groups like that.
Everything is done for a reason. This all is coordinated. This is why they want to confuse children and put them on Adderall and drugs, so that they do not elevate their souls to find out the truth. This is all,
Well,
again,
that's what I'm
this is,
saying.
yeah, this is why
If
they
you and I
poison
were in
you with the
charge-
food to poison you. Everything's
If
poison.
you and I were in charge and we could get a group of kids, ages 5 to 13 or whatever, and take them into a room and give them 4 or 5 items that supposedly was found over this time, and see what they come up with, see how they interact with it, all that stuff. That's when we will start finding out things, the truth, I feel, because a kid just sees something and they just start trying to build it or do something with it. It's their imagination that starts to come to life, and that's how we find out things that we want to find out. That's what I really
The true universe is more fantastical and beyond your imagination that you could ever fathom.
But,
you have no idea what it really is, and I do. I've seen it. I see it all the time.
I do. I have hope that it can be, because I spend as much time as I can with young kids. Every chance I get, I babysit for people. I go places and museums. Like one of my favorite places to go in New Orleans was the Bug Museum, where you get to go in a room and a fan blows down on you and you go in and it's really warm in there, and they have all these plants, but you have all these butterflies and moths flying around, and they have cocoons and stuff everywhere opening up, and they land on you and you can just see them flying around. And then they have just tons of stuff. It's all in there. And at the end is a cafe where you can eat, like, just like they said, eat the bugs and be happy. But I got to eat different kinds of insects to see what they tasted like and stuff. But the whole thing is nothing but insects. It tells you all about ants and termites and butterflies and everything. And kids love it. And I love hanging out there. I bought tarantulas and all kinds of really cool stuff that I've been collecting through the years. And every time anybody came, I'd say, when you bring your kids, we'll take them to the insectarium. That's what it's called. And I'm telling you, that's our future. Our kids are our future, and we have got to let them have the reins one day. And hopefully it's not all lost before then.
Everything's coming to hilt. They are fighting in the region they're fighting for a reason. The hidden secrets are there. They've always been there in plain sight. Everything's around you. Everything is done to confuse you. You have to wake up to the reality of the universe as it is. And if you don't, then you will perish. You're going to have mass deletions happening because people are going to know that what they have believed for the last 2,000 years or the last 1,400 years or the last 6,000 years is a complete fabrication. That's serious.
Yeah,
it is. You are reading a book that's full of lies. Books that are full of lies.
Well, that's your opinion.
It's the truth. That's a sad fact.
It's your
and again,
opinion. I love you because you have your own opinion. And you let me have mine. And
I know. But that's but my fear is that's what's going to happen. People have used religion to destroy each other, and they're going to do it again, and they're doing it right now. And I'm just sick of it, tired of it.
My father one time told me about
it's truth.
An experience that he had.
Dark truth.
Yeah.
With his brother, my uncle. When they were younger, they were looking up at the sky at night, and they saw this dot in the sky full of stars just going like this, moving, and suddenly stops. And then just zips off really quick. They're both looking at each other like, should we go inside? Yeah, we should go inside. And it's funny that he told me that because years later, I would see something over my hometown, which 7 miles away. I'm all of 13 years old. I know where all the street lights and lamps are and how high they go. And there's these things just freaking flying overhead. And I'm like, they're the same color as street lights.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no street lights over there. And I'm like, yeah, those aren't street lights. What the heck are those? They're triangular formation. Why? And there's 3 of them. What the hell is going on? And I'm like, Dad, I think I just saw UFOs. He's like, yeah, probably did. I'm like, what? Why are you so cavalier about it? That's when he told me his story. And I'm like, well, but yeah, so years later, when they're all saying, oh, we've known there exist, or we've always known that UFOs exist, and yada yada, and they come out with this stuff, I'm like, yeah, and what does that have to do with why our fucking country sucks right now? You think that you're gonna deflect? Oh, UFOs exist, people. Don't worry about the economy. UFOs exist. Fuck ET. I do not give a shit. I care about living. I care about being able to afford food on the table. I care about gas prices. I do not give a shit about some turd-colored alien that wants to frickin' make his finger light up and heal my wounds. I do not give a shit about some gray, almond-eyed, bald frickin' Lex Luthor wannabe and his anal probes. I do not give a shit about snakes with arms and legs that are big and bulky and pretend to be other people all the time. I care about the shit that's affecting me right now. If aliens exist, fine, they exist. I mean, I honestly understood a very invaluable truth when we were younger. We all understood that we were not alone in the universe. And I still can't forgive the government for what they did to Pluto. Pluto's a fucking planet. So as far as
I just had this discussion the other day. I believe it's a planet too. And the person I was arguing with said, no, it's not. They said it wasn't. I go, well, they haven't been to Pluto. So how
they also said trust the science.
It's too small.
Yeah, the same people that say trust the silence.
It's a trans-Neptunian. It's a binary system.
Or it'll be a man.
Our moon. Don't even get me started on our moon. Okay, Why is it so fucking large? Why is it the same size as the sun? How is it so perfectly placed in a fucking tidal locked orbit the way it is? How is this? It is not a fucking natural body. It was brought into existence by other creatures. There's been plenty of times in various books, Bible included, where it talks about a world.
Look at our whole
without a
solar
moon.
system. Our whole solar system is spectacular and put in place by the Big Bang, which was started by God, like that.
Book that I had from when I was younger, man. It was all about space exploration, aliens, and shit. And did you guys ever hear about the face on Mars?
Yes.
I mean, and I'm thinking to myself, I cannot believe that a superhero movie went there with face on Mars thing. Because they made it a happy face instead of an actual rock formation face. And there's also, they predict that aliens from like Jupiter are more like flat because of the massive gravity. I mean, you look at Jupiter, you'll barely recognize it nowadays because the freaking superstorm on it is disappearing. The great eye of Jupiter, as they call it, the red storm or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're also saying that Saturn's rings are disappearing, and I'm like, well, at least I got to see Saturn in my telescope when I was younger, so at least I got to see that.
Over time, they will go away.
Yeah, but they're all, I mean, I absolutely love the idea, and I'm always fascinated about the idea of life off of Earth. But I'm also, but that was when I was a kid, and even now it's still fascinating. I'm kind of wondering where they're going to go.
One thing I remember telling people is that life doesn't necessarily mean us.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say like the moon of Titan, the Titan moon, right? Isn't it Jupiter's moon? It's probably got life on it, but they're probably like amoeba type cells or whatever. But that's still life. Okay. So I believe that there's life out there somewhere because I don't believe that
Europa, Ganymede, they're all there.
Why do you think something? There's
something going on with Ganymede. I'll say that much.
And not only that, you have these I mean, why do you think people are? I mean, back in the 90s, people were getting kidnapped, anally probed, and all that shit from the 50s to the 90s. Yet nowadays, you don't even hear about it anymore because they're so freaking. That's like, yeah, we've already ass banged all these people, and we don't really need to know anything else. I mean, we already know that people or humans nowadays are so fucking retarded that they think that there's multiple genders. They're electing leaders whose brain whose brain levels are less than 0, -1, as it were.
That they're taking people. I still think people are
getting. I wish they would take a president.
Well, the thing is,
they moved. They're not in North America so much.
And people are not being reported missing and stuff. You know, people are leaving, and then I've seen a couple of cases where someone was gone for 20-something years, and when they found the person, dead or whatever, when they did the DNA, they found out who they were or they belonged, right? And they contacted the nearest relatives or whatever that they could find, and they asked them, didn't you look for this person? And they said no. No, they left as a high school kid, whatever. They quit school and they ran off. I never saw them again. And they said that we didn't try to find them or anything. We didn't have the money, and we figured when they didn't come back, they probably got married and had their own family. And they didn't care. So you're going to have a lot of people, I'm sure, if there was any way to find out, that disappeared because they were taken by an alien or whatever, but nobody reported them missing or anything. When we have missing people worldwide, millions of people, I'm sure, are missing, and nobody said anything. So
Yeah, there is probably a correlation between the idea of the missing children, organs, and them. So it could be, it could collusion too.
Yeah, or that could be something that when our government leaked that there is aliens, so now they can say, well, all those kids made a deal and we let them live in our Antarctica, and we made a deal with them that we'd take them this many people every year or something. I mean, who knows what kind of wild.
Yeah, the one wild theory that I have basically is, one aspect of it is we have the Oort cloud around us. That in itself is a Dyson sphere.
Flagrant trigger, moon landing, real or fake?
Real.
100%
real.
I believe in it.
I mean, everybody's saying, "Oh, it was just clever CGI." Do you even know what CGI was? It was freaking Gattaca.
Okay, here's a theory I've got about the moon landing.
Galaga. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
The theory I have about moon landing is this: there was a moon landing. There was. What you and I have seen, the video, the black and white video where there's no background, it's just like white rocks behind the astronauts and shit. I think that was completely a Hollywood production.
No, it can't be. It's impossible.
Well,
100% impossible.
Follow my logic, goddammit!
Which is?
Why I said that.
What's your logic?
If they have a UFO flying by while the middle of fucking Neil Armstrong is there taking a shit in his astronaut suit, and he's like, "Control, do you see this?" If that happened, it would have fucked up everything. But instead, we got only audio. So they have a video of guys moving around, dropping hammers and feathers, and you have shit like that. Because you can't have fucking 13 UFOs at the edge of a crater while the aliens are looking down at you like the fucking accounts are stating. Can't have that. Can't have that on video. Can't have Americans shitting their bricks while they're watching their fucking 13-inch black and white Magnavox sitting at home in the middle of 1969. Can't do it. Can't do it.
But they showed the video. They showed the video continuously. It wasn't clips. It was a continuous roll. So
yeah, there was no cuts.
There were no cuts. No, there were no cuts. I was there.
There was a period where they had to go blank because of just how the orbit was. The moon is tidal locked, but they weren't broadcasting to the same spot on the Earth. We didn't have a network of satellites to beam the fucking signal around. So at one point, the shadow of the Earth, where it was not quite first world, is there. So you have a period where there was no transmission from NASA, and so they went dark.
Okay.
And then you have them pop back up. Okay, we've got feedback. And they show you that. But they're not going to show you guys. They're not going to show anything potential. It's just like Disney. Disney's not going to let you know that Captain Marvel bombed. They're going to say, oh, look, hey, Fandango, you got a CEO that used to work for Disney. Can you fudge numbers for us real quick? Because we need to make it look like this was a success. And there's videos and photos of people at this fucking theater with 20 people in a 500-person theater. Can't do it. The government's no different. That's where Disney learned how to do this shit. They're part of the CIA.
But you have to remember something. If the moon landing were actually faked or anything like that, then you would have other countries that were unfavorable to us to debunk that and try and break that down. It wouldn't just be a one-sided argument.
It never happened.
So what's China doing right now?
What are they doing?
No, they just
making cheap plastic crap.
They launched a fucking rocket up on the moon, and
so is India.
Yeah, no. Like within the last 48 hours, they launched a rocket up on the moon, and when it fucking landed on the moon, it didn't like break apart in stages. It hits the moon, and part of its design was to break apart. It launched and returned back. You have two craters that are fresh where China's at. We've got no information as to what the fuck this purpose of this visit is, but I'm only assuming that China's there to try to acquire property on the moon in the most literal of senses.
Okay.
There's a reason why we haven't gone back since the 60s.
71.
Or 71. Yeah, 70s. It's because chances are there might be something hostile up there.
Yep, that's what I think.
I don't need to
And the
yell at
idea that
anybody.
it's very, it rings like a bell when you hit it. They did that test, so that proves that there is
Not once, but twice.
Yeah,
They
it's
just
hollow.
fucked up twice.
It has hollow aspects of it because it rings like a bell.
And not only that, have you all seen those Doritos commercial? That Doritos commercial where the alien just comes up from the crater, starts eating everybody, and this dude's hiding behind the freaking park, and then he just freaking rips one, and the alien's like,
Yeah, I see.
I mean, I'm guessing that's probably close to the mark, except that they weren't munching on Doritos; they were munching on I don't know, hydrogen or dehydrated food or whatever. I mean, I also love that episode of Scooby-Doo where Shaggy jumped in a pool when his pockets were just stuffed full of dehydrated food, and it's like, and I'm like, yeah, I can believe that.
Yeah, I remember that one. But you guys, it's after midnight, and
it's after 1 here.
yeah, well,
I
really
need to apologize.
We
I
gotta get up
fucked
in
up.
the morning,
Yeah, it's all right.
and because I gotta play DD.
Oh no!
So do you, Bruce?
I know, I gotta run it. I fucked up. My dad gave me this video, but it's not in the last 2 years. I think it's from 2020. But basically, the Chinese landed on the moon, and they're there on the moon, planting flags and probably doing the same thing we did back in the 70s.
Just like they did in Antarctica.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what everybody wanted to do. Remember, everybody wanted to go to Antarctica and put their flag in there somewhere.
Well, yeah. Then we had what was that? Admiral Byrd go down there with a bunch of military equipment, and some of it got lost because there was a fucking war from fucking extraterrestrial entities. What was that? Operation High Jump. Operation High Jump was.
I don't know, but I know a guy. I know a guy on Twitter who talks about that stuff a lot. So if you guys ever want to talk to somebody that talks about that whole thing about what's down in Antarctica type of stuff,
it's archipelago. It's basically different little islands. It's not one solid thing. We're melted.
Well, he says there's a whole thing underground down there. He talks about all of that stuff.
Yep,
that's an Admiral
He's
Byrd,
really smart.
Admiral
Is he
Byrd
talking about the pyramid under Bovatoya Island?
Mm-hmm.
There's supposed to be a UFO crashed down in Antarctica right now, and it's not on the surface. It's actually in the water. From what I've read of it, there's like a reality ripple that around like a quarter mile around this crashed piece of shit. Life is not doing what it should. It's kind of like this membranous thing. It's not a UFO. I mean, it was a UFO. Now it's a UFO.
Multiple dimensional. That's what it is.
And it's fouling up the entire reality of the ocean around it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing I've been reading about.
Yeah, we do not live in a 3-dimensional universe. That's the lie too.
I'm pretty sure that's where, or that bubble is actually where Sci-Fi Channel's getting all their stupid shit from.
Oh God.
Well, I wanted to ask what each of you guys have planned for this next week on your channels before we leave.
All right, who wants to go first?
Born chat.
What do you got coming up?
I'll go last.
Well, I have Sunday stream, which is since I couldn't get a panel together, I'm going to start doing for Sundays like kind of like what we did here, multiple different stories, but it's more entertainment based. Tuesday is my Tuesday theme streams where they're going to be debatable Christmas movies. I believe I'm starting with the very famous one that's debatable, which is Die Hard.
That's the only way to do it, though.
Wait. Yeah. What's your opinion? What do you think? Just kidding.
Oh, it's definitely a Christmas movie.
Okay,
but I will be going over it during the stream. Wednesdays and Thursdays later on in the 20s of December, me and Jade Shadow are going to be doing the ones and twos on her channel on Wednesdays, where we're going to be discussing Gremlins 1 and 2 in those 2 weeks. And Thursday singles, where we're going to be discussing Krampus and Violent Night. So,
okay,
those are always going to be fun. And,
That's it.
And if well, I had fun on her tonight. So if you guys ever want me back, sure, definitely will be coming back.
I definitely would. Anytime you want to come back, that's why I added you to the chat. So if you think there's something interesting that you want to talk about, put it in the chat so everybody else can look at it.
There we go.
But I like it. I like having multiple different points of view. I like that. I like the banter back and forth, jumping in. Just like if we're sitting around a coffee table or a dining room table talking about some stupid bullshit that's going on. That's what I want. So go ahead, Bruce. What do you have coming up?
Well, here in about 12 hours and 4 minutes, we're going to try to get everybody together for the alpha stream. I think it's a fourth session we've got for that, and that's the customized rule set that I'm working on and putting that together. That'll be about 5 to 10 years before that thing is an actual finished product. I could actually want to put it into a hardcover, but until then, we'll be keeping it as a PDF and downloadable items. That's Saturday. Sunday, I've got a very special announcement at the end of our viewing of Krampus Sunday night in my Discord channel. We've got the what is that? Futurama. I'm still in season 5, going into season 6 now, and enjoying that. That'll start about 5 p.m. Then after that, we watch Krampus at about 7 to 7:30. Whenever I get done watching Futurama, like 4 or 5 episodes, and then after that, I've got a special announcement for next week because Janet. Spoiler alert. I've got Daily Wire Plus.
Oh,
I don't know what that means.
Lady Ballers, baby.
Lady Ballers. We're going to be doing a Lady Ballers discussion.
Oh, wait, when is this? When are you going to watch it?
We're going to watch
it. Oh my God. That's right. I forgot. I saw the trailer. It was freaking funny as shit.
Let me know when you're doing that. I need this. I want to see that shit.
Okay.
It's going to be
it'll be 2 Sundays from now on my Discord.
Okay, cool.
Awesome.
So, Lady
Ballers.
You
need to give me the link and everything and in the promo so I can share it on all my channels.
Will do. We'll be watching that, doing a watch party on Sunday, and then Monday.
It's gonna be fun.
Next Sunday. That's next Sunday for the Lady Ballers, and then next Monday we'll be doing a discussion on Lady Ballers. And after this chat, I'll do the test to see if we can, as long as I can get the Daily Wire to broadcast to you four, I'll be able to use it on Discord too. Because I've noticed if I can't broadcast to Discord, I can't broadcast on StreamYard. Sometimes YouTube will fucking block your shit. Tubi won't let me full screen and broadcast, but I can have it windowed and broadcast. I don't get that, but they're trying to scramble stuff nowadays. Hopefully, we'll be able to watch this because this movie looks fucking incredible. And,
it's gonna be great. It's gonna be funny as heck.
We'll be discussing that 2 weeks from now. Other than that ruins our Christmas theme for December. Oh well.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
It's not like this comes along every day.
Yes. So anyway, that I guess the spoiler's out now. Well, we'll be doing that, and then afterwards, next week I'll be having Krampus discussed on our A Girl, a Guy in a Movie.
Because I haven't seen it. I haven't watched it.
Neither have I.
So we're gonna watch it for our first time in Discord.
Yeah, we're gonna watch that in Discord, and then Monday we discuss that. Tuesday I'm over at Nick Weiser's and we discuss. Shit, what are we doing at Nick Weiser's? Well, I'll be on Nick Weiser's channel for Toxic Tuesday stream. Wednesday night I should be off. Thursday I do Table Breakers, and then Friday of next week I will be here with you.
I do want to put someone Flagging Triggers is in the chat. I want to basically say that again. Flagging Triggers is basically doing with Crash Mondo is doing something that's very important. What they're doing is they're relaunching their store, their brand, because they were hit earlier in the year. They had to change their manufacturer, and now they're doing it themselves. They're investing their own money. They have done streams where they show the process, and they are releasing new products, and it's all done. And again, if you have your own, I don't know if you have your own designs or anything like that, if they're going to do anything like that, but again, let's support these fine young men. Young, my God, I'm saying this now. I'm young. that are doing something, taking their own life in their hands, their own destiny in their hands, like we all must do. And again, the true entrepreneurs are doing this. Those that basically are not going to bow down to the corporations, but take things on their own. So support them. Also, Front Porch Conservative, yesterday, we did a stream of the debate. And again, I was invited, and I basically said, "Okay, let's hear what they do." I had no skin in the game, but we did the analysis, and it was very well done. And I shit you not, we had over 600 people watching our stream last night.
Awesome.
And he got over 900 watch hours in one stream from all the people watching, and we got people watching from all over the world. So then again, his channel, so Front Porch Conservative, is doing stuff, and I'm basically, and this is what this is the announcement. Why I'm saying this is my announcement. I've talked with Front Porch about this. Friggers have talked about this. I have 30 years experience as a business technology consultant. I have helped companies. I've helped McDonald's. I've helped Pfizer. I helped Abbott Labs, United Healthcare, Chase Bank, do with their businesses, because people come to me and say, "Ruben, we need to get this done. We don't know how to do it." I'm the one that puts it together. So I'm turning that around. I've lost everything, and I want to gain back customers, but I want my customers to be you. If you have a dream, that's what I'm doing now. I put I did a video. I got a shout out from Drunk 3PO and Beardo on their high tea stream a day before yesterday. And I decided to put a video out, basically introducing myself, what I've been through, my story, where I'm doing, and what I'm doing now. And it's basically, I've already talked with Gary about this, Comics Division, and a few others, about being the producer for everything, in the sense that, if you have an idea, a website you want to get done, I'm actually looking toward designing a operating system that is going to be so that you can put it out there based on Linux. They don't have to give your information to Microsoft or Apple. Again, don't feed these corporations. They are only consuming your soul. And I know I'm doing this because I believe in it. And what are you getting out of this, Ruben? You know what I want to get out of it? I want a little piece of land, a little hut off the grid, and not talk to anybody else. I want to walk away. It's like a reverse Thanos, because I just want to be at peace now. And again, that's the whole thing. I don't want to be angry. I don't want to be yelling. I don't want to be fighting. I want to spread love and joy. And that's my goal now. So that's what I'm putting out on my channel. I'm doing also we're launching a soft launch for my fitness channel called Alt-Right Fitness. It's already out there. I have it. It's no videos. Once I reach 250, I have 95 pounds more to go. I will launch that, and it'll be just me working out, wearing my MAGA hat, and having fun, and trolling everybody, and basically being that fat phobic person who had these tumors, which there are tumors. I'm not. Oh no. All of this weight was tumors. I didn't even know, because the doctors wanted to rip out my thymus and do all this other stuff. And I said, no, I'm doing it naturally. And I'm using the power of prayer, the power of meditation to do this. And it's working. Taking my life in my hands and not fighting, and not going to give up and fight back. And that's what I want to do. So follow me on X, follow me on my YouTube channel. I'm on Rumble, Instagram, because it's a countdown. 31 more days left of this year. And let's end it with a bang and make 2024 great for everybody.
Yeah. Sounds great. You're doing great. I'm really proud of you, Ruben.
Thank you.
I want to say thank you to everybody who showed up tonight and hung out with us in the chat. I really appreciate it. But I appreciate all three of you for joining me tonight. This is doing something I thought I'd never do if it hadn't been for Bruce. To think that I could actually do live streams and stuff like that, which I never ever thought about doing. But I'm thankful to everybody who's helped me with my journey. And I just want to say thank you to everyone. And God bless America, because we really need it. Mm-hmm. But thank you for coming. And I hope to see you guys next week. And you guys have a wonderful weekend.
Yep, you too. Stay humble, everybody.
Thank you, chat. Be well.
God.